Where's the next hole? Maybe it's this way. Come on! Ah!
You look a little lost. I'm here
How
to
did you
help.
do that?
Will you shut up? Did you know you can use your UDisc app to find the next hole?
No, I didn't. I mean, I already used it to keep score anyway.
Okay, I'm not trying to have a whole conversation here. I'm just trying to get my bit done.
Wait, what bit?
My bit. This is my job. I'm UDisc Yinny. You have a problem, UDisc has a solution. I show you and then I say, now, you know.
I didn't even know you existed.
Well, now, you
That's
know.
really cool.
Hey, can I get a flight tray?
Sure. Flight's ready.
One round down, 2 to go, here at the final event of the season. Our players are tired, but they need to muster all the energy they have if they're going to overcome the Hornet's Nest. Not all can walk away happy in a do-or-die format like this, but for those who've overcome the nerves, they've earned the opportunity to wipe the slate clean and do it all again today.
Every shot matters. The players are staring at their phones. They know the pressure's on, and you know, it's cool because you see like who can handle that pressure and who crumbles.
12 have crumbled so far, and only 4 remain out of an original 16 ladies that gave it all they had at the quarterfinals. Paige Pierce, she's in with a 2 over par. Holly Finley was pacing a great round early, but unfortunately a late finish derailed a 4 down through 15 start. She would come in 1 under par, still pacing the field by 3. Lisa Fakis, emotional finish. She would be so psyched to get in. 2 under par. She'd get in as part of a 4-way tie for second. Paige Pierce playing on her card. She was serious out here. 2 under par, again, part of that 4-way tie. Haley King, another beneficiary of that 4-way tie.
It was going well in the beginning. I went birdie, par, birdie. I missed like a 20-footer for birdie on hole 2. I was feeling good, but then I threw a forehand on one hole and I just felt it, and then I couldn't really putt anymore because it kind of hurts to lift up my arm. Honestly, I wasn't planning on making it in today. I just wanted to play so I can like see the course, you know, one last tournament, and then I guess I'm playing tomorrow, so I'm excited about that.
And she should be. 1 more round equals 1 step higher in pay grade. Tour points earned her a tiebreaker win, but now she'll have to face off against some of the world's best. Catrina Allen, Rebecca Cox, Sarah Hokom, and Paige Pierce, all earned buys through the first round. Now meet up live on the feature card during the semifinals of the 2019 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship Semifinals. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, alongside Jamie Thomas. And Jamie, we're here. Things have moved up a little earlier this morning. What's the reason for that?
Well, it looks like some weather patterns are going to come in a little later this afternoon, so we want to get the players out on the course, get them playing, and I know there's a lot of money on the line and a lot of pride on the line at the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships this weekend.
Well, we're looking at the top 4 point earners of the season. We had a card go off about 30 minutes ago, and now these are the top 4 battling for a spot to get into the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see. These are the women that have played the best on the tour throughout this year. Now, it's going to be interesting because some of the ladies that played yesterday, they've already tangled with this course once. So you're going to wonder, hey, can these players come out cold and really tackle this thing? But given the way they've played all year, I would expect nothing less than fireworks.
All right, well, we also are going to have Nate and Val. They're going to join us in a little while. Jamie and myself will call the shots, but for now, we're going to get to the action. Again, this is the top 4 at the semifinals.
All right, everybody, welcome to our 9 a.m. tee
John,
time,
are we
the
muted?
semifinal round of the 2019 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championships Women's Lead Card. Up first, from Plano, Texas,
JV, are we
representing
muted?
Dynamic Discs, 2019 World Champion, Miss Paige Pierce.
And here's Paige off the tee first, hyzering a little bit to that left side. 289 feet, Terry. This hole is indicative of how this course is going to play all afternoon.
From Pipestone, Minnesota, representing Prodigy Discs, please welcome Miss Catrina Allen.
And Catrina Allen takes an inside line. It hits a tree about halfway down the fairway, kicks to the left.
Next up on the tee, from Caldwell, Idaho, representing MVP Discs and your reigning Disc Golf Pro Tour champion, please welcome Miss Sarah Holcomb.
We watched Sarah Hokom carve through the woods at Jackson last weekend, and today she starts out with a clean shot here on hole number 1.
Next on the tee, hailing from Cincinnati, Ohio, representing Latitude 64, put your hands together for Miss Rebecca Cox.
Off to the right side for Cox, who is dealing with a leg injury, and we're just going to see how far she can go. Still impressed with her ability to battle with the rest of these ladies.
We'll be back after a word from these sponsors.
Zuka is now producing limited edition color choices. Zuka can add custom embroidery to the front and/or sides of the bag.
I mean, I don't know if he can.
And Rebecca's forehand pushes off to the right side. She'll be left with a tester putt early on.
You know, with a strong par bid there, just not quite high enough. This basket is a little bit uphill in the last probably 80 feet of this fairway. Terry, I said a little bit left side for Paige Pierce. She looks to be inside the circle. Really nice carry on that tee shot. She might get 2 strokes on Catrina early.
And the par bid is just short. We find Sarah Hokom about 10 feet inside the circle. So she has a birdie look to get things started this morning. And Holcomb is picking up right where she left off last weekend with her solid performance.
Her putting has really come on strong in the latter half of this season, Terry.
And low left side, but still a birdie for Pierce. So we're going to see a pair of birdies and a pair of bogeys. A little bit of separation immediately on this first hole.
Yeah, no pictures on the scorecard there. It feels good in the cold air this morning just to get one in.
And Catrina has tapped out for her bogey. We're going to send it back to Bend and the booth. Sounds like Nate and Val have everything under control. They're going to give us a whole preview and take over from here. Jamie, thanks for joining us. We'll check in with you later on the course.
And good morning, everyone. And thank you, Terry and Jamie, for taking over on hole 1. We are on to hole 2. I'm Valarie Jenkins. This is Nate Doss. And we are going right into it with the island hole. We saw it yesterday in the morning round for the women. Island hole is 267 feet, par 3. As you can see, you just got to clear the water. You have the guardian trees that are on the island. So as long as you throw that nice straight shot, scoot it low, it'll skip up to the basket, and that should be the gameplay here. It's all about throwing that straight shot, though, choosing the right disc and hitting that line.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's a big island, really. I mean, you could build a house on that island, really. But
That'd be nice,
yeah, it's not the typical island, but there's the danger of obviously throwing into the water. You know, it's not one of these fake islands. It's actually real, which is pretty cool. But yeah, good morning, everybody. Obviously, we've started just an hour early, and if you're getting up early on the West Coast or you're just getting ready for college football on the East Coast, welcome. And welcome to the Tour Championship. This is the semifinal. I know that Jamie and Terry already opened the show, but we're getting going here, and we're excited about this group we have, plus the other 4 ladies in the semifinal.
Yeah, and that was an exciting start already. I mean, 2 bogeys, 2 birdies. Sarah Hokom, we know she has that momentum. She's been playing really well at the end of the season here, won the Green Mountain Championship. We know that she just took down the Hall of Fame Classic last weekend, and she's already off to a hot start. We're just 1 hole in. So we know that adding these 4, I mean, it's the best 4 women in the world right now, adding them into the mix to go along with the women that qualified yesterday's round, I mean, it's going to make for an exciting day. And the women that played in yesterday's round, we've got Holly Finley, Lisa Fakis, Paige Pierce, and Haley King. they put on quite a show. I think Haley, Lisa, and Paige all ended up around 2 over yesterday. Holly was at 1 under. So I think they're going to have to pick up their games if they're going to want to compete into the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, and the one thing that we obviously have to talk about is the reason why we're an hour early. That reason is because of the weather. The weather is drastically different from yesterday. Of course, we talked a little bit about the temperature when we came on air yesterday in the morning. It was about 55, 56 degrees. Sun was out. Today it's 40. It's in the 40s right now in Charlotte, and there's weather coming in. There's rain anticipated a little bit later in the day. That's why we moved the ladies up, and we'll see what happens for the men this afternoon and if we're able to get everything in. But with that said, everything is changed up. I mean, yesterday was the day to score. Tomorrow's weather is anticipated to not be so bad as well. So we'll see what the score getting in today is. Again, we have 8 ladies, only 4 getting in. Going to take this second just to give a shout out to Prodigy for being one of the premier partners of the Tour Championship as our ladies are getting ready here on the second hole.
And Nate, remember from yesterday that there still is a bounty for an ace on this hole.
Oh boy.
And I'm not sure that's going to get it.
That's going to be OB for sure.
Is out of bounds. Paige Pierce will actually take it from the drop zone on the island.
Yep.
It's about 65 feet on the left-hand side of the island. But getting back to more positive things, there is a $1,000 ace
Hole-in-one prize.
pot.
Yeah, hole-in-one. Yeah, ace pot. Yeah.
Ace pot.
Yeah, there we go.
So any player, male or female, that gets an ace on this hole might be splitting up $1,000 put up by the Disc Golf Pro Tour just to make it a little bit more exciting. But Sarah Holcomb's just going to have to smile with that safe shot. A little long in the basket.
I mean, yesterday we saw Joel Freeman in the afternoon basically make the same shot that Paige Pierce just did, where she just completely yanked it. I mean, the island is huge. I can't imagine missing this island. The only way I could see missing it is by hitting off a tree and kicking back into the water. I'm not sure what the thought process is by Paige Pierce there.
It's about 30 feet off of your line.
Yeah, 30 to 40 feet. I mean, she completely missed any of the trees. So just a big error there by Paige early on. But Paige, we heard from her yesterday. She was caddying for Nate Perkins that she was excited about today and excited about getting out onto this course. She really enjoys it. Oh, and what a kiss that we see taken off the tree there for Rebecca Cox. We will take a quick break and we'll be right back.
What do you think flatness and stiffness on this?
Somewhat flat, neutral stiffness. This is a good disc right here.
Purple one. Got it. 2 more.
Danny, this is a sick one.
Dude, I gotta get through all these today.
Cheers to a good day, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's good.
It's a hard day.
That's great.
And thank you to our sponsors. And specifically, we'd like to thank Innova for being one of our premier sponsors of the Tour Championship this weekend. Innova, along with 5 other amazing disc golf manufacturers, were able to step up and come together to bring this elite tournament to Charlotte. And here's Paige Pierce. 65-footer. Roll that Zuka replay, John.
Elite tournament to Charlotte. And here's Paige Pierce. 65.
Didn't even land on the island and still able to get her par. That's a Zuka replay if I've ever seen one. Wow.
That was such an incredible flight, too. It's always fun to be behind the player. And isn't that what Paige's video series is all about? Nice line.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was following the putter the entire way, hyzering back just perfectly to land right in the middle of the basket. That was amazing.
Wow, it was amazing. And just to remember back yesterday when we had Jessica Weiss miss the island and she threw a little sidearm, flop in there. And Paige Pierce is able to line up basically just a straight jump putt. So it was an interesting kind of difference to see right there, but just an incredible putt. Oh my goodness.
Right. And it did look like a straight shot. So I am interested to see what it actually looks like from there for Jessica to take a little sidearm, a little pop sidearm.
Right.
But we have Sarah Hokom here just outside the circle. Man, look at how bundled up Sarah is. Beanie, yes. Glove, puffy vest, long sleeve. It's about 50 degrees out there. Players are just starting to try and get some blood flowing in their fingers.
Again, if you're just joining us, and what a putt by Sarah Hokom. I mean, the putting is solid early on, and Sarah obviously feeling the good vibes from last weekend, about a month ago up at the GMC. So life's been good for Sarah over the past month or so. But the decision, if you are just joining us, the decision to move the round up 1 hour was made yesterday night, and all the players were informed, and it's because of some weather coming in later in the day.
If you're just joining us, what a way to wake up.
Yeah.
Huge 65-foot putt from Paige Pierce. There's a 33-foot putt from Sarah Hokom. Rebecca Cox cashes that in for birdie. And there's another birdie for Catrina Allen. We are going to go check out what's going on the other card. We have Haley King on the tee on hole 3. Oh, excuse me, hole 5.
Yeah, we see Madison Walker coming in, walking towards us. Take it away, Madison.
Count me down. Or Johnny B, will you count me down? Whatever. I'm out here with the chase card at the semifinal round of the Disc Golf Pro Tour finale. It is chilly. It is humid. You can tell some of these ladies have cold fingers, some early releases, but they're making it work. It's warming up as we are out here, and as the lead card moves into these more difficult first 5 holes, I think we'll see some more similar scores. These ladies are cruising, though. They're playing confidently. They're playing consistently, and I think we're going to see some awesome stuff out here from them today. Please stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll throw it back to the booth.
Thank you, Madison, for that update. You see Madison's bundled up as well. How's the weather looking? I know you're checking out the forecast.
Yeah, I've been actually looking at it since last night, and there's a tropical storm down in the Gulf that's kicking off a lot of this weather. That's one of the reasons we're seeing just this sort of change in conditions. And I don't know. It's as Madison said, it's cold, but the humidity is up, and that's always
isn't it? in
Right,
Charlotte.
exactly. This is Charlotte, North Carolina we're talking about. But when when you have that high humidity, that's when everything starts to feel just a little bit colder. It kind of gets to your bones a little bit. For the people out in Phoenix, Arizona, you won't know what we're talking about, or Southern California. But if you're from the South, you know those cold mornings with that humidity. It takes a while to get going.
We're going to take a look at hole 3 while we still fight away those thunderstorms. Hole 3, it's 551 feet. It's a par 4. This one's all about placement. You want to land in that corner and then dog legs immediately to the right-hand side. So it's definitely a 2-shot hole. It's nothing you can cut the corner and make it a shorter hole. You have to play it out as it lies. And there we go with the course map. You can see exactly that elbow I'm talking about, but nice kind of slower flying mid-range landing in that corner will get you in a perfect position. You still have some trees to fight in that second half of the fairway, especially getting closer to the basket. So you gotta just take what you lie. But it's all about placement shots here, choosing the right disc. And I mean, if anybody's going to cut a corner, Sarah Hokom could do that with this sidearm.
Yeah, and I mean, really, we see Sarah just right down the middle. Does she have the right distance is the big question. Ooh, she absolutely does. She's a little bit on the inside, so it's going to make it a tough angle there, but she has gotten clean. And Val, the group just ahead of these ladies that played hole number 3 went bogey, 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 triple bogey. So hole 3 is not an easy hole, and it's sort of I was using the term yesterday, a very classic hornet's nest type hole with this right angle, type fairway. And Catrina got caught up there and hit a tree and kicked even deeper into the woods. So probably just a pitch out for her. Now Rebecca doing the same. She's pretty far back, and when you leave yourself this far back, Val, it's so difficult to get to where you need to be just to make the next shot that was sort of designed into the hole.
Paige Pierce is snapping it a little bit over on her putter there. We are going to hear a word from one of our premier sponsors, Deedee. We'll catch up with these players in just a minute.
This is the Commander Bag from Dynamic Discs. Now, it's available in these 3 colors, the brown, the gray, and the blue. The main compartment here holds 20 discs. Up top here, there's 2 elastic pockets here. I use these for my putting putters. And then these pockets on the sides are kind of a secret storage compartment because they go all the way down. See how much of my arm is gone? It's just eaten by the bag. Besides that, there's water bottle holders on the side. There's these 2 cell phone size pockets on the side. I usually keep a sports sack in this one. So that is the Dynamic Disc Commander Bag. Check it out at dynamicdisc.com.
And thank you to our sponsors there. We have Rebecca Cox clearing a little space for her second shot. And you can see in the far distance of the screen, there was that bridge. That's where Sarah Holcomb's shot landed. So that is where the hole begins to turn to the right. And wow, that's helpful. Very nice upshot from Rebecca.
Yeah, that was definitely fortunate, and we can't see the basket from that angle, but she's certainly on the right path. And at this point where her tee shot landed, a par would be fantastic. So I think she's put herself in good position for that. Oh, and look at this, our camera view, Val. I think we see the line that Paige pretty much has to take. It looks to me to be a sidearm sort of S shot that she's going to have to play. bending it to the left and then back to the right as it goes down and up towards the basket.
Yep. That's exactly what she just played out. I think in between those two large trees, it's going to be the most open. And this is just what you have to do in the woods. You have to pull out these trick shots, and you have to be willing to kind of go for it a little bit to get yourself back into the fairway.
Yeah, and the difference as she's going to take just a horrible kick there. Let me bring this up. I expect specifically with Paige Pierce. Obviously, she's the #1 player in the world and has had a fantastic season, along with pretty much all of these ladies in our group today. The difference between like a Paige Pierce and a Chris Dickerson, for example, is that Chris, when he gets in those positions, he's very much under control. You know, he knows where he's trying to go. He plays kind of a control shot. Well, we saw Paige just lining up there with sort of a very aggressive shot. And sometimes when you play in these woods, she saw the line. She's going to hit it. And if she hits it, it's way up there. But we just saw she's now compounded the situation by getting now another kick in deeper into a different area. Now she's going to have to execute yet another shot.
Yeah, it was an aggressive throw too.
Yeah.
Even just that little sidearm pop, maybe with a putter,
right,
would have been a little bit less risky. Catrina also trying to use the sidearm, but gets kicked back to the right.
Yeah, and things are so much clearer for us in the booth than they are when you're playing out on the course itself. And I think everything really comes down to game planning on this type of course. I remember during the 2012 Worlds, my game plan was if I got off the fairway, I was using no more than a mid-range to get back out. I had a game plan to not use a driver to advance, especially on some of these longer holes. I got par fours in the woods, and so there's that temptation. But you got to use all the shots and try to make sure to just get pars if you get off early.
Oh, geez. And if Catrina Allen is pointing in a direction that she's going to throw,
she sees
I don't think she was listening to what you were saying.
No, not at all. She sees a hole. No, she sees a gap. I think she might have been asking if there was a mandatory. There might be something there. As our camera panned up, it did look pretty open. Not taking much time to think about it.
Seems pretty clean so far.
Oh, yeah. She's gotten all the way through. Incredible shot there by Kat. She's going to possibly be able to save that par.
The risky shot plays out this time.
Yeah, she's got a big uphill putt. You can see the basket. It's kind of hiding there. We can't actually see it. So she's going to have what looked like to be about a 40-footer.
Wow, and look at where they are. I mean, looking where they are and looking where Catrina's just landed and where all the trees that she had to fight through. I mean, that was a really incredible shot. I think Paige is tucked up just a little tighter on the right-hand side. Aw, and hey, Dodge family. Look at just spectating, enjoying their time. Oh, that's great to see.
Yeah, it is. This is probably the most enjoyable Pro Tour finals that Steve has ever had, as he doesn't have to work this time. So hopefully, it's nice to see Steve there and Mama Dodge and Steve's daughter there. So it's pretty cool to see that all the work Steve's done is still continuing on. And now the search is on, actually, for Paige Pierce's disc. I just heard it got it. Have you ever been in that situation where people are going, got it, no, got it, no, and you're like, Don't say got it until you're standing on it.
Right. Does that happen in fall when the leaves are changing?
Yeah.
You keep finding a leaf the same color as your disc?
Or you're playing in Wisconsin or Michigan, you got the deep thicket.
I was about to say, I hate when people say, got it, but you're not going to like it.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can get to it.
Oh, those are the worst.
Absolutely is. So now Paige is down in the area where Kat threw up and over there just a second ago. And so it looks like she's going to have to go for another sidearm, try to bend it up and around. Caddy getting involved, and Paige looking to just try to get it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very fortunate. I thought I was going to get hung up on those last little twiddly branches, but punches through. You can see the basket there. She still has a big putt ahead of her, but she's going to be happy with how that ended up.
Well, and she just made a 65-foot putt on the last hole. So, yeah, putting feeling good at this point.
Oh, man. And with that really nice drive, Sarah's not able to get it up there far enough. She's still going to have a decent sized putt. She is inside the circle, though. And I'm looking at the scores coming in, and I'm looking at the second card, and we only have 8 women playing today. This is the semifinals. Only 4 will advance to tomorrow's round. And at this point, it's looking like that second card's struggling a little bit. Holly Finley has a fairly clean scorecard. She has 1 bogey that happened here on hole 3, but the rest pars. And we know that she played very clean yesterday. So that's going to be her game plan. Haley, Lisa, and Paige Pierce, their bogeys are starting to add up, and the space is starting to grow. But Holly Finley, I think she has that outside chance.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You're right. The numbers are starting to add up early on for that second card. With that said, they are, about 3 holes ahead. And so there's obviously opportunities for our lead card to gain birdies and go further under par, but also to gain some bogey strokes, as we're seeing potentially here from Paige Pierce. So as well as Catrina Allen, they're both going to have long uphill putts now for par. And so I'm still, again, I'm always going to do this. Is the way I do it, especially in these situations. I'm going to say probably 2 or 3 over gets you in. We'll see how that is, and we'll all adjust that as we move forward. But 2 or 3 under, or 2 or 3 over is going to get you in at this point to the finals tomorrow. Cat just pulling it a bit.
Paige has a wide open putt here, just outside the circle. Not enough extension to flip up on that putter. Oh, but that one would have been in.
That one went in for sure, dead center. Oh, and that one was pretty good too. But anyways, you could see her react. We're making a little joke there, but you see her sort of replaying that in her mind, and she knows it came out left immediately. It was kind of low left on that putt that she had. She's going to take a bogey. Now we see our semifinal leader, Sarah Holcomb, lining up for what would be a 3rd birdie in a row, and to take an early, just commanding lead. More importantly, she's playing very steady through the first 3 holes at this point.
Just tell with the body language there. Didn't put enough on it. But still, she's going to be there to tap in her par. 2 down to start on the first 3 holes is pretty solid.
It's very solid, yeah, considering that nobody else in the rest of the entire 8 is even going to be under par. And there's Rebecca Cox with a par. Val, you know, of these 3, or excuse me, of these 4, both Paige, Kat, and Hokom have all taken victories. Now, Rebecca did not, that we were a part of, or that we saw even on the national tour. But Rebecca has had a fantastic season. She really has, and she's put herself in so many lead cards, and this is going to be a good thing leading into tomorrow. Or, excuse me, next season.
And tomorrow,
Yeah,
possibly.
Maybe, possibly, absolutely.
We'll find out. We are going to head over and check out the whole preview for hole 4. The par 4, 540 feet. Starts out with an open shot relatively. Players are going to find themselves on the left-hand side of the fairway. Landing about here would be a good idea. Then the fairway starts to curve off to the right-hand side. Slight slope as it makes its way down to the parking lot, which is out of bounds. There's also an out of bounds line that lines the entire right-hand side and cuts in front of the basket just a little bit. We saw Haley King get hung up on the right-hand side, forced to throw over and to in between where you see that out of bounds line on the right-hand side, not able to make it in the first drive that she threw, barely making it in a second drive. So playing on the left-hand side of the fairway is the way to go.
Yeah, it really is. And then when she did get it barely in, she was able to make that putt. It is very close on that right side. And then the basket's in a very steep, we see it right there, kind of steep sloping area. And so, yeah, so there's a lot to think about here on number 4. And we see Sarah Holcomb just getting onto that tee pad. But, you know, just to sort of, I guess, finish my thought on Rebecca, she has had a wonderful season. She's put herself in a lot of lead cards, and she, you know, has a lot to look forward to for next season. So I think maybe potentially we see a new winner next year with Rebecca maybe picking up a W, because all of this is important because she's still young. She's getting great experience playing in front of these cameras, playing in front of the crowds, playing with the best players in the world. You learn a lot of the tricks of the trade being in these situations.
Absolutely. And being in these groups, you know, it does rub off on you. And if you're put in that situation, you have to step up, and you see these other players stepping up time after time. And that's the reason they're always on the lead cards. That's the reason they're winning tournaments. A nice shot from Sarah. Really, she just has to get it out there. It's all about the second shot for her. I think it lines up really well for the forehand. Got that perfect shape from left to right. So as long as she's not out of bounds. And now for the backhand thrower. The first shot's easier. The second shot's a little more tricky because of that shape.
Boy, and Rebecca has left herself well back. Oh, Kat hitting that branch as she comes out, and that's going to put her in an absolutely terrible position because she's so close to that fence. I think all she can do from there is just basically pitch out and around and go from there. That branch hit really did her in.
Especially because it snuck up next to the fence. She'll be able to take her relief, but that will probably not be enough to get over the fence. Paige just absolutely crushing it we're going to actually hear a little interview from Rebecca Cox that we took earlier this morning. So let's throw it to the interview.
I'm out here with Rebecca Cox just before the Pro Tour finale semifinal round. This is your first competitive round out here. I know for the ladies coming in already have some experience out here on the course competitively. Do you feel like that's a bit of an advantage?
Yeah, a little bit. I have only gotten to really walk the course. I haven't really thrown any shots on it. So yeah, they probably have an edge on me there.
I know people are thinking, what? You haven't played any practice rounds? Tell us about your leg injury. How are you feeling? How's your throwing?
I'm feeling a lot better. I fell off of a bike, punctured my leg about 2 centimeters deep, so haven't been able to throw for the past week, but today is my first day back and my actual first day trying to throw, so I'm just going to try and have fun today, really.
What are you thinking? Some standstills, or are you going to have to change your game at all?
Standstills, just being slow and smooth and, just trying to stay in the fairway, basically.
Awesome. That'll be good out here on a wooded course. Well, do you have anyone you want to shout out to?
I guess shout out to my dad. I know he's watching every move I make, so hi, Dad.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca. Good luck today.
And there we just heard from Rebecca Cox, the frozen Rebecca Cox there, actually. But we did hear the audio there, and Rebecca seems to be feeling good about today and excited to be in this position. It is an exciting position, though, Val, because it's the last tournament of the year, last major event of the 2019 season. There's still some events for players, certainly, that live down in the South and in some areas. But, yeah, so it is exciting to be here, and we've made it through a whole another disc golf season.
It is great, and just caught her on the corner of our screen. Debbie Scott, a local in the Charlotte Disc Golf Club. So I want to give a shout out to a lot of the volunteers who have helped beautify this course and allowed the Tour Championship to come to this area. I want to give a shout out to Adam Durbridge, Andrea Salazar, Andy Garrett, Andy Martin, and Bernie Goetz. Thank you guys for your volunteer efforts.
Yeah, Val, well said. The Charlotte Disc Golf Club is one of the best in the United States. There's so many courses. There's such a huge club, a lot of volunteerism that goes on. And just look at this, view where Sarah Holcomb is. Of course, this is a park, so we got to help thank the Charlotte City Parks as well. But man, what a beautiful place to play disc golf. And once you get into those woods, there's been so much volunteer time. With Sarah asking it to get down, that's going to bring in the OB, and that is going to end up OB for Sarah Holcomb on that right side. And Val, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, and now that Sarah has thrown that shot, it was back in 2012 where she had a very similar second shot. She was able to get it down just below the basket and then make a putt to win the 2012 World Championship. She birdied the last hole to beat you by 1 stroke. And so she was familiar with that shot. And so that's a big mistake there for Sarah.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable putt that she had to make under pressure. I was catching up with her in that final 9. I thought I was going to have it. But on this hole, oh, and there's another out of bounds. Catrina Allen really pushing it. On this hole, it's pretty difficult for a backhand player. I remember throwing a decent drive, throwing a nice straight drive on that left-hand side. But the disc that I had in my bag at that time, I didn't feel comfortable with that mid-range turnover to land on the side hill without flaring out and landing into the parking lot.
Yep.
So my play was playing it for par.
Yeah.
And that did not set up very well, especially on a final hole of a world championship. But a sidearm player like Sarah, she played aggressive through past the basket and made a massive putt. I mean, that's kind of the best way to win.
Yeah. And the best way to lose too. She played it well, and you lost to somebody else's best.
Right.
So not much you can do about it. And there's somebody playing at their best. Paige Pierce just blasted her drive out there and able to just sort of chip it up, no problem. And now Rebecca's going to have a very similar shot, although she's about 20 feet closer.
These are always tricky. That slight slope down to the basket, making sure you're throwing it far enough, but not too much heat. When that's a little short, she's going to have a downhill putt to the basket.
Nice little gathering of people here on this Saturday morning. The Charlotte locals coming out and playing, and just think of being not only in the Charlotte Disc Golf Club, but what it means to live in Charlotte as you have the USDGC just 30 minutes to the south. Down in Rock Hill, you get to watch one of the biggest tournaments of the year, and now you get just 2 weeks later get to watch the Tour Championship, the Tour Finals of the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So pretty special. They've had multiple amateur world championships here in Charlotte, the Queen City, the Queen of the South, Charlotte, North Carolina.
That was an aggressive go for. You can see there's still enough space behind the basket to catch those putts. It's really if the putt gets on an edge and starts to roll is when you're in trouble.
Yeah, boy, Holcomb's kind of stuck between, do you go for it or do you lay it up? Especially when a player walks up like that, they're looking at, okay, that's a stall tactic. It's a stall tactic to allow yourself to think about what you want to do a little bit. She knows there's a hill there. Can she convince herself to go for it? I know I've talked about that before. Here we see Sarah. Looks as if she's kind of looking to go for it.
Oh, and there's that roll. And that was not even a very good go for it.
No,
She's probably so disappointed with that attempt, but then to get kind of double penalized and get an out of bounds stroke added on, it's not something Sarah wants after such a great start.
Yeah, because we cut our other cameraman off to get to the next fairway, we didn't see it, but I'm guessing she might have hit those. There's some, pavers there, and she might have hit those and rolled. Either way, Holcomb's going to be giving back a whole handful of strokes here.
Whoa.
And that was Rebecca for
that
par.
Was inside the circle.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what happened with the footing there.
It looked like she
after
kind of
she
fell
released.
backwards, yeah. So where they've marked this, Val, is actually very, very close to where Sarah made that putt in the World Championships. This is it. I mean, this is pretty close.
I mean, she has to be thinking about that right now.
Oh, there's no doubt.
I mean, this is the hole. This is where it all went down. This
Absolutely.
is where she started her career.
Yeah.
That's probably what she's thinking about right about now.
Yeah, absolutely. There was of the 3 world titles I played, the only place that I ever actually went back to was was Pinto Lake in just south of Santa Cruz, where I grew up and lived for a long time. And I still walk by that 18th basket and I think about the time that we had there. So there's certainly those feelings, I'm sure, in Holcomb's mind. She's aware of those things.
Oh, and sit down.
Yeah, we're counting that up here in the booth. I think that's going to be 5 throws for her once she puts it into the basket, plus the 2 penalties. That's going to be a 7. So a triple bogey is in Holcomb's future here. Just a moment. Cat able to tap in her bogey at this point. And Pierce is still lining up for birdie. So Paige Pierce is going to take a 4-stroke swing on Holcomb.
And just like that, Paige to the top. Sarah's going to move down into about 4th place. So she's going to be right at that cut line. And we are going to take a minute and we're going to throw it to Jamie Thomas on the course.
Morning, Nate and Val. Glad to see y'all are up on the West Coast, hanging out up there in Bend. And I know that y'all just saw what I saw over on hole 4. Wow, Sarah Hokom, who looked in control of this match from the early going, suddenly a triple bogey after a daring death putt from circle 2. That's going to drop her to 3rd place. And Paige Pierce's drive proved to be really effective as that birdie on 4 now puts her 3 strokes ahead of Hokom. So do all that math in your head, but remember, it's still top 4 scores that advance. Right now, that cut line's about 2 over par, so Catrina Allen trying to hang in there. She's going to have the lead based on her tour points advantage, and there's a whole lot going on with a whole lot more scoreable holes left to play at Hornets Nest. As the card approaches 5, we'll see what happens as the morning presses on.
Thank you, Jamie, for that update. And action is just happening so early in the round. We're on to hole 5, par 4, 585 feet. Starts off with a big distance drive. You have to control the height on that first shot. This is a second shot here. We have the out of bounds on the road on the left-hand side, and there was a line on the right. It's all about, I think, landing in this zone a little bit lower than the basket, and then you throw your up shot. Playing this for a 4 is good, but we know that aggressive players like a Paige Pierce, she's going to be running at it. This hole also sets up really well for Sarah Hokom with that sidearm flight, finishing away from the road and away from the out of bounds. So we'll see how it all goes down, but still, so much can happen.
Yeah, it absolutely can. We saw the drive from Paige Pierce on the last hole put her in position to basically make hole 4 seem very, very easy. And we saw her fellow competitor, Sarah Holcomb, take a triple bogey on that same hole. She made, and so, it's tough. It's tough to kind of, think about. Paige is going to continue to be aggressive throughout the entire day. Holcomb probably has her game plan. So if Pierce hits all these aggressive shots, she's going to make these holes look pretty easy. Oh, what a complete miss throw, and that's going to go out of bounds on the road. Maybe not. Yeah, it's going to stay OB. Wow, I don't know. That could be because of the conditions. That was just a total early release.
Yeah, not enough snap to get the turnover either. And while we have a second here, I'd like to thank Black Ink Discs, who sponsored this hole and has sponsored the Disc Golf Pro Tour throughout the season. Head over to blackinkdisc.com to go check them out.
On that same note, we want to give a big shout out to Latitude 64 for being a premier sponsor of the Tour Championship. Thank you to Latitude 64. And now we see Kat. Oh, she's got it pretty high, and that's going to turn over towards that OB. It's flexing back. Oh, what a beauty she's thrown. Boy, it's like none of our competitors in this group can get on the same page. Not Paige Pierce, but the same page. It's like one player is just absolutely blasting it. That was a great shot there by Kat, and she's going to be in premier position. Oh.
Following up a not great hole with the starting not great hole.
Yeah. Holcomb's going to go read the rules here on hole 5. It might be that she's going to have to re-tee. I'm just pulling those up myself.
If I were Hokom, I might want to re-tee.
Yeah, well,
They're saying she crossed over, she hit the fence, bounced back, so she'd be taking it basically where the fence is. Get your meter in.
Yeah, I think it would all depend on how close that fence is. I mean, her meter's not going to give her any run up.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think taking the tee pad yet again is probably the best play. Although, Val, you got to remember, she just teed off from this tee and hit that fence. So she's going to have to obviously make that adjustment. Throwing 3 now, Sarah Holcomb.
There we go. Higher release, but this could bring the out of bounds into play. Nope, not far enough. Sarah Holcomb's off the tee. We're going to have Paige Pierce with her out of bounds shot in just a minute.
The Raptor was created for a specific shot, a specific distance, and especially comfort. A lot of thought went into the design of the Raptor. We wanted to make a disc comparable to the zone that just went a little bit further with that.
We are back here, and if you're just joining us, it's just 10:01 out on the East Coast, and if you were thinking this is when you would come to see our players here on the first hole, the round has been moved up 1 hour. Tropical Storm Nestor down in the Gulf has hit Florida pretty hard. That weather is coming in, so we've moved everybody up, and we are on hole 5. Paige Pierce throwing 3. Not throwing it quite yet. But yes, we are back here. This is the Tour Championship. This is the semifinals of the ladies' side of the Tour Championship. We have 8 women playing right now, vying for 4 spots into the finals.
And we know Paige is throwing over the road, so we see a couple cars that still need to clear, but this is a scary shot.
It is.
Oh my gosh. We know Paige has been working on her sidearm, but still, it's not her strongest suit. And this is so important that she gets that hyzer on the sidearm and allow it to skip back inbounds. Oh, and I didn't even think about that yet. But thankfully, she does get to advance.
Yeah, she actually, well, and it doesn't matter because it kicked off that pole. So it's going to basically be where that pole is. kick straight to the left, and she'll take that mark there. Oh, Val, I don't know if my heart's going to be able to take this ladies round because I think there's going to be so much yo-yoing going on. Really, nobody's going to be out of it till the absolute very end. We've seen Lisa Fakis took a triple bogey early on. Sarah Holcomb just took a triple bogey. Paige has thrown it OB and made a 65-foot putt.
Just wait for the weather to come in.
Yeah, right. This is going to be entertaining. I think it's going to keep us guessing till the very end. And Rebecca leaves that one in the OB.
Wow. Door is now wide open for
anybody.
I feel like advantage is in Catrina's court for this hole.
Exactly. Yeah, we were saying that the players just couldn't seemingly get on the same page. And, I mean, Kat's got a huge advantage. And a lot of times Kat in these positions, she does take the momentum pretty well. And so she hasn't even thrown her second shot. And all of our players have at least one OB on the books. Paige Pierce has 2 OBs. Hokom has 1. And I believe Rebecca Cox now has 1. So, yeah, advantage Catrina, who needed this advantage as she's the worst in the group at the moment. Scoring update back on hole number 8. Lisa Fakis has taken a birdie and moved herself to 2 over. So Lisa's just at the heels of these players.
Currently tied with Holly Finley and Catrina.
What a shot by Hokom. So in control. She's going to have that putt for bogey now.
And it's kind of crazy to see all these large numbers starting to add up so early in the round. We talked about it yesterday a little bit, but these holes, they're a little bit more wide open. They're a little bit, I'm not going to say easier, but they are fairly easy in just how open they are compared to the rest of the course. Once we get toward the back 9, the fairways narrow in. You have a lot of woods. You have to be so incredibly accurate. So this is the time that players should be taking advantage, but the OBs are definitely starting to add up for this group.
Well, that early release yet again, and it stays inbounds. You can see just the frustration. She's trying to extend it out and throw sort of an S shot. She's trying to throw an S, basically sidearm, and she's just early releasing it with the wrong angle. And a lot of that, Val, is because of the trust. She doesn't yet trust that sidearm to flex out and come back like a Hokom does. You know, Hokom just so trusts her discs in that position. Now we see Catrina lighting up a sidearm. Bit high. Just not going to get her the distance that she needs, but still a fairly makeable birdie putt there.
Well, it's a good play, especially with that side hill. That sidearm is going to fly off to the left, come back to the right, ideally, and stop next to the basket, whereas a backhand is really difficult to get it up high enough on that hill without allowing it to fly out. And you do have that row that comes into play even near the basket.
And there we go. Paige is able to put it up and in. Now, if you've been watching this hole and you've seen the rock areas, I just looked on the map, and the rock areas that have the flag sort of around them, that area that Rebecca went into, are considered casual. So I don't believe that she is OB. I think that might be a part of the conversation right now. But these are marked as casual, so she can take relief, free relief, no penalties.
I was going to mention the white flags, and that's what Rebecca just tripped over, but white flags are indicating that hazard. Red flags are indicating the out of bounds.
Correct. Yeah, and it's a casual situation, so she can take relief straight behind, no penalty. So she's still lying 2, excuse me, throwing her third.
A nice upshot from Rebecca. This is interesting. I feel like we're in a little bit of a lull. We're only 5 holes in. A lot of strokes have been adding up between the players. We need a little bit of excitement. We need something to happen to spark the energy back into this group. And Catrina Allen's the only one right now to get a little excitement going. It's for birdie.
When she misses that and slides just a little bit away, that's no guaranteed coming back up the hill. As I said, Val, I don't know if my heart's going to be able to handle this one. There's going to be, I think, a lot to talk about as we continue through this round. There's a lot of pressure as well because you got 50% of the field. You got 8 ladies playing the course right now. The top 4 scores will make it in. If there is a tie for that last spot, points will be the deciding factor. So the more points you have from the season will get you that bid. And there we go. That's a nice solid putt there by Hokom. That was for bogey as she did go OB off the tee pad.
And I think that's what's really shined in Holcomb's game in the last few months of the disc golf season. Her putting has been on point. It's been really just looking really strong and confident. And so Sarah is using that to her advantage. Won the Hall of Fame Classic just last weekend. As we know, Catrina Allen took down the National Tour points.
And that's the first par for Catrina at this point. She had not picked up a par yet. She had 3 bogeys and a birdie. And that's Paige Pierce for what on the UDisc Live app is a 7. I'm trying to calculate it all out. I think it is a 7.
And we are heading on to hole 6, par 3, 321 feet. This one sets up really nicely for the backhand hyzer. We're going to see the flight of this. And again, thank you to Central Coast for these flybys. This is the inside route. We did see a few players yesterday morning taking that route, but you can come in at any angle on the right-hand side of the basket. It's going to be a little bit more difficult here for Sarah Hokom. She's got that sidearm. It'll be interesting to see if she pulls out a backhand here. Anything could happen. But while we were on that hole, something we missed was Holly Finley cashing in a birdie from 60 feet, jumping her way up that leaderboard. She's now tied in first place with Rebecca Cox.
Yeah, after all of this, boy, what happened? Now Rebecca Cox is leading this thing. Holly Finley is now tied for the lead. She wasn't even on there at all. And so now Paige Pierce is tied for third with Catrina. And actually, yeah, I think they're just going to make the adjustment right there. Okay, so they've made that adjustment. and Sarah Hokom is going to be in that tie for third as well. So, boy, a lot going on here, Val. And as you said, not a ton of energy just yet. It's a cold early start. And thank goodness there was a little kick there back in bounds. We don't need any more OBs.
We do not. Yeah, there is that out of bounds driveway that we were just playing that was on the left-hand side of hole 4. Now it's here on the right-hand side of hole 5.
Well, an advantage, I think, in this case, advantage to the group. Wow, and blasting it long, beyond the circle, long of this basket. I think advantage to the first group here. If they can go and set a score, you know, put a score in. They're about 4 or 5 holes up ahead now. If they can, maybe 20, 30 minutes ahead of this group, set a score, then I think that puts a lot of pressure on this group to just maintain or try to come back and pass that score.
Holcomb using that body language. With that sidearm, that's a fair shot.
Yeah, it'd be very difficult to throw that big turnover sidearm down there. So Holcomb probably just playing this one for par. Pars are good right now, as nobody is under par. This is not a very difficult shot for Paige Pierce.
And we're going to take a break, hear from one of our premier sponsors, Innova Champion Discs.
I can throw this disc around the world in one shot.
And thank you to those sponsors. And we are back with Rebecca Cox. Pretty much all she has here is just a layup and a tap in. Don't have her run at a birdie. Just take the par and move on.
Yeah, let's make the putts easy. You know,
I'm so surprised not to see more of this group. I mean, this is a routine hyzer shot for these backhand throwers.
Yeah, it really is. It's 321 feet, just a little driver out there. The one thing that we saw from Kat, she knew as soon as she threw it, she was like, slow down. It just went too long. And then Paige Pierce took a bunch of skips. It's pretty hard. Obviously, you can see the ground there. So it's not grass. Holcomb pitching that one just a little long in the basket. Still shorts weather for the locals. You see one of the spectators walking through there with shorts on.
I believe that's Austin Hannum.
Oh, was that Hannum?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bundled up on the top, shorts on the bottom. And we will have the men's semifinal round this afternoon. We'll have to give an update on the timing, especially with the storm creeping in on us. I do believe it will be earlier than originally scheduled. But we will have 16 players again throwing in the Sharks. We've got 8 players that still haven't played yet. We'll have Simon Lizotte, Kevin Jones, Garrett Gerthy, James Conrad, Calvin Heinberg, Adam Hammis, Alex Russell, and Chris Clemens joining the 8 that have already made it through 2 rounds already in the Tour Championship. And so here's the closest drive of the group. Paige still has a little bit of branches in her way, making this a little bit more difficult.
And as Paige Pierce does, Val, she makes it doesn't matter what happened on the last hole. She's able to make that putt, and that's a true yo-yo right there, folks. Birdie, par, with a 65-foot putt. A double bogey, a birdie, a bogey, a double bogey, then another birdie. So Paige Pierce, all she's got to do is just clean it up now. Get a couple of pars, get kind of that feeling coming. And this is what I was talking about back on hole 3. Paige Pierce is so aggressive. She's going to be aggressive the entire round. And on this type of course, that's when these bogeys come up. So we'll see if she's able to make the adjustment as the round goes on.
Everyone's just really stacked up right now.
Yeah.
Lots of ties. 3-way tie for first. I wasn't going to speak too soon, but Catrina Allen and Sarah Hokom also tied. So we're stacking up. Oh, and Lisa Fakis is also tied for 4th. So a lot of players just in the hunt. Every stroke is going to matter right now. As we see, nobody's really taken off. And there's a tap in par from Rebecca. We're going to take a look at hole 7. This is a par 4, 588 feet. And thank you to Savage Ultimate for sponsoring all the hole 7s throughout the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Starts off with a big, relatively open drive. Gets technical in the middle here. Backhand throwers want to land on the left-hand side. And it's all about the approach to the basket. Have the road on the left-hand side, so you need to be wary of that. Don't want to get tucked up over there and bring that into play. I think there's enough open space that you can play safe the entire way. But again, it's a par 4, and I think it's really that middle section when it starts to get tricky.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw, and yeah, it is the middle section because the first part of the drive is not so bad, but that corner on the right comes into play. You just got to put yourself in position to make an aggressive second shot into this green, and birdie opportunities are here for this caliber of player. So, definitely a birdie opportunity, but with that road being the common thread and the common theme as we've gone through so far, that is a possibility as well. And there's our top 8. Well, there's the only 8 players playing. So we see top 4 advance, and we've just seen people bouncing up and down, up and down.
Look at that. Everybody's tied.
Yeah.
Tied for 1st, tied for 4th, tied for 7th.
Yeah, so one stroke means everything, and that's the side we're talking about. Paige Pierce throws right into the corner that you don't want to throw into. That's a wall there, Val. Oh, boy. And, looking at those scores, honestly, is right now, seemingly, Holly Finley's hot round is going to stay intact at this point. We'll see if somebody's able to shoot 2 or 3 down through the rest of the round. But Holly Finley yesterday shot a 1 under par, and that's going to keep her in position to win that Innova bounty, that hot score bounty that Innova Champion Discs has put up. And speaking of Innova, we do want to thank them for their premier sponsorship of the Tour Championship. And there you see the $1,000 hot round bounty. That's $500 to the ladies, $500 to the men. And Holly Finley is looking like she's in pretty good position to hang on to that for at least the time being until tomorrow, when there will be another opportunity.
And Holly still stringing together a really clean round. It's amazing to see. We've got 8 players. They're all within 3 strokes. You don't even see, we haven't even seen that throughout the tour season, the regular Disc Golf Pro Tour. To the top 8 to be so tightly compacted right now. It's given us a lot to talk about.
Absolutely. Oh, and Holcomb's gotten around that corner, and she's going to be in really good position with that sidearm shot. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Wear what the pros that film the pros wear. Savage Pro Tour apparel. Full body dye sub technology. Sweat wicking polyester. Lightweight Cirrus jersey. Made in the USA. Are you savage? Wear what the pros that film the pros wear. Get yours today.
And welcome back to Catrina Allen just ripping her second shot. And that slight hill helped her stay inbound. She was a little worried about that.
That was a great shot.
Yeah.
I mean, she did what she needed to do.
And she's going to have a look at a birdie.
Yeah, outside chance, but boy, she just powered it through that right side and straight in the middle of your screen. That's where Sarah Holcomb landed. Back there, back, quite a ways, but perfect angle for that sidearm coming into this basket.
And it's really, we can see Paige on the left-hand side of our screen just tucked up in those trees. There's really just a couple of blobs of trees right in the middle. And if you're ending up clearing those or giving yourself a good footing around them, you're in good position. But if not, try and get tricky like Paige is doing.
Yeah, and it's the one mistake, well, besides throwing into the road, that you don't want to make. This corner is really, it's kind of just a pitch out, and her stance just seems horrible. I think all she can do is just try to kind of get it out into a position where she's going to be able to make a good solid third shot. And you can see she's kind of over there, like saying, where do I need to put this disc?
And so there is that pitch out from Paige. But still, it looks like she's behind that clump of trees. Well, it will give her an option to go left or right.
Yeah, I think she was looking at it like, I want to take this inside Heiser flip up route. I think Rebecca's got to take the outside route.
It's got to be low turnover.
Good too. Looks real good. Nice looking shot there by Rebecca. Now we'll back up to Paige. Paige has to take the other side. And then we see Holcomb's disc on the right of Pierce.
Oh, and Holcomb's in a great spot.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. I mean, she's got that sidearm angle, all the goods that she would want. I still think that's a very smart play by Pierce.
Exactly. She was lining up that sidearm. And think of how an early release sidearm. Oh, no. I was going to say, early release sidearm would end up on the right-hand side, but Paige is there anyways with that backhand.
And while these players are playing, we are going to hear an update from Madison Walker. Madison's been cruising along with the second card, so take it away, Madison. Let's hear about it.
Hey, I'm out here with the second card of the FPO competitors as they head into the back nine. Overall, the energy out here is a little bit low. I mean, it is the end of the season, and I think fatigue is the name of the game. Holly is playing solidly, but everyone else seems just a little bit meh. I know Lisa came back to me after her interview this morning where she told me that she thought they had a competitive advantage by playing yesterday. She came back and said, actually, I changed my mind. I feel like fatigue is the disadvantage here from playing yesterday. So these ladies look like they're ready to be done already, and they still have 9 very challenging holes to go. So we'll see what happens as we move into the back 9. Throw it back to the booth.
Thank you, Madison, for that update. And that's interesting to hear. We do know that it is at the end of a very long season. And we were saying yesterday, it might be an advantage to be playing this round and getting a lot of an experience on, especially the wooded holes, getting a lot of experience on playing those. But it does take a toll on your body. The more rounds you put in, the more holes you put in, the more tired your body is going to be, the more you have to recover. So hearing that, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, this is a competitive athletic sport, and it does take a toll the more you play.
Well, as we were just watching, as you were talking about, we saw Hokom kind of not execute the best shot. She hit a little high and early, but kicked out. She's going to have a long look at birdie, and now Pierce is yet again just making mistakes, making bad shots, and she's going to be in a very difficult position to even move it forward. And by the way, Val, these are the open holes that Pierce is having problems with, the quote-unquote open holes. Just a little bit more reaction from what Madison said, and to sort of piggyback on what you're saying. To me, the physical toll is almost nothing, right? These players are trained to just come out and play every day. They play practice rounds, they play tournament rounds. You know, these ladies played 18 holes. To me, I think it's more of the mental fatigue. You know, there was a lot of stress for Lisa Fakis coming down the last couple of holes yesterday. There's a lot that the toll that's taken out on the players from a mental standpoint is probably 10 times worse than the physical, right? We say our game is 10% physical and 90% mental. So I think those same percentages go along with the fatigue. Yes, it has been a long season, all of those things. But with that said, I think there still is a big competitive advantage to be ahead of them, so you can set a score that they have to try to beat, as well as playing a little bit yesterday. So having a good feel and a good sense for this round. So there we go. That's kind of my thoughts on that. But I think,
And even middle of the season, even if you're a little tired, you might still have that mental strength to talk yourself through it. Now, at the end of the season, you're just counting down the holes. You just have a few more holes left. You get to take a little bit of a break. You get a little bit of an off season. So, yeah, it could be the mental strength kind of giving up on them in the last little bit of the season. There's still so much on the line. This is the Tour Championship. We're looking for 4 of the best rounds today to advance to tomorrow's finals. So if they do play well enough, and Lisa's still in the mix, everyone's still in the mix, actually.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt. Unfortunately, Paige Pierce has taken 3 straight bogeys. Oh man, had she just kind of stuck it out where she was, she's only 5 over. She would be right in the mix as well. So again, yesterday proved the point.
Yes.
Oh, and there we go. That's Holcomb for birdie. Roll that Zuka replay, Johnny V. Oh man, look at this. Up and in. We always say with Hokom, it's all about that elevation on those putts, and that thing was out of the frame, out of the camera frame, and then drops in from the top. So Hokom back on track after going triple bogey on back on 5 and 6. She's now picked up a birdie here on 7. This is Rebecca Cox for birdie as well. Oh, and Rebecca able to get it up and over. We always say that with Rebecca too. She hits more front cage than anybody on tour, and she's able to get that one up and in. We don't see that birdie come across yet on our card, but she will get that birdie, and that's going to put her in a solo first place position as Paige Pierce is going to take just a huge, not a huge number, but it's a big number. I mean, it's still a double bogey for her. So, yeah. All right, hole 7 is in the books, Val. Let's take a look at hole 8.
We're heading over to hole 8. It's 285 feet. It's a par 3, so it's definitely reachable. And for me, I think this hole sets up really well for that sidearm. So you're going to see how this finishes. You could throw a slow turning mid-range or backhand shot. We do have this elevation though, these stairs, and then the basket's perched up on a rock. So you want to land as close as possible if you're going to go for that birdie putt. So I think a sidearm plays out really well.
Yeah, I think you said that perfectly right. And boy, look at that structure they've built on hole 8. Man, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that big rock up there. I don't know if that rock's native to the area, but boy, that's it's pretty impressive looking stuff. All right.
I don't think the rocks are native. The stairs are though.
Yeah. The stairs have been there since the dawn of time. They brought the rock in. But here we have Rebecca Cox, and we see that now that solo lead, but Holcomb with the birdie gets back to 1 over. Holly Finley is at 1 over. Kat is at 2, and then Paige Pierce is at 3 over, and Paige just doesn't look settled. She's made
nothing's feeling good right now.
Right, left. I mean, it seems like a drill sergeant kind of going out there.
And now we're getting back into the woods. Accuracy is so important right now. So hopefully Paige is able to dial that back and dial in that accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca Cox pulling out the sidearm even on this hole.
Yeah, we don't see that a lot because Rebecca is such a good backhand thrower. She has great turnovers as well. So I think that tells you everything you need to know. It's a sidearm hole.
Exactly. And it just seems like there's not enough space for that Anheuser shot to just fly out. You can't work the left-hand side of the fairway to give yourself enough flight for it to turn slowly. With that sidearm, you're able to punch it through straight and then allow the disc just to naturally finish off to the left.
And Holcomb yanked that one just a bit and hit on the left side. She's been kicked back into the middle of the fairway. Now we're going to see Allen with this sidearm as well.
And that's a pop.
Oh, and she got on that left side also. So 3 for 3 on the left side, but she got her whole body into that one, didn't she?
There was a lot of power behind that. A little bit to the right, and she would have been parked. And isn't this interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, of all the sidearms Paige has already thrown in the round, she's choosing to go with a backhand here on hole 8.
Yeah, if she can get it up the middle. Is it going to be... Oh, look at this shot. Oh, man. She's still going to land in a pretty good position and have a birdie putt. We'll go to commercial, and we'll be right back.
My name is Thomas Ekström. I'm the disc designer for Latitude 64. This is the Keystone. I wanted to design a disc that had minimum fade when putting. I wanted it to be slightly understable for those nose up approach shots. I'm super proud of the Keystone. It went straight into my own bag, and you should try it as well.
What do you think, flatness and stiffness on this?
Somewhat flat, neutral stiffness. This is a good disc right here.
Purple and orange. Got it. 2 more.
Danny, this is a sick one.
Dude, I gotta get through all these today.
Cheers to a good day, gentlemen.
Cheers. Ooh,
Yeah,
that's good.
It's a hard day.
That's great.
And thank you to those sponsors, as well as thank you to Westside Discs for being a premier sponsor of the Tour Championship. We couldn't hold these elite events without these top sponsors.
And we saw a little bit of that. We caught the end of the picture-in-picture, but the second shot from Catrina Allen got hit another tree and kicked a little bit to the left, so she's not in great position to save the par. Holcomb's pitched it up. She's left herself in a good position below the basket. We mentioned it on the whole preview, this big castle, I guess, if we're going to use that term. We use that term back at the Vibram, but it's elevated. I mean, it's way up there, so it's a very highly elevated basket.
Yeah, and you know where you have to land on this upshot. If you land off to the left at the bottom of those stairs, you're throwing up about it's 15 feet above you.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty incredible.
If you're following along on UDisc and you see the picture that is at the top, where it's this sort of basket on top of this long pole, there was a hole actually out at Hornet's Nest that was, I mean, you needed like a ladder to get it out. And this is maybe replacing that just a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Because it is that elevated from the bottom.
And it's nice to see a structure created like this. And we know that it takes a lot of manpower to create such an extreme step and the rock and cementing a basket into it. So want to thank some of our volunteers that we've had out of the Charlotte Disc Golf Club. I'd like to thank Blake Houston, Bob Scott, Brad Ramsey, Brent Harrison, and Brian Hedella. Thank you for helping this event come together in your neck of the woods. The course is looking absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and just think tomorrow it's going to be completely rain soaked as we're seeing a big storm coming into the area. Again, that's why we've brought up the tee times here by 1 hour. And we were talking about it before, but instead of 3 o'clock Eastern, we will see our men's featured card for the semifinals at 1:30 Eastern this afternoon. So almost nonstop live coverage here on this semifinals day of the Tour Championship here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour.
It's a nice fall day here. It's Saturday. It's the last event of the season. Why not just sit at home and watch disc golf all day long? I mean, sounds like a great afternoon for me. That's what I'll be doing anyways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this tells us everything we need to know, though, Val. This hole's only 285 feet. We're going to have two players that are looking at bogeys. You know, I mean, I've been using the term yo-yo. I mean, that's just how this whole morning has been so far, up and down and back and forth. And yeah, it's been difficult for our players to get in any kind of real solid flow.
Sarah really needs her height to come into play here for this putt.
Barely able to get it up and over. Actually, the part of that structure was hindering her kind of big, deep arm swing, but she was able to get it up and in. That's going to be for par. And that will move Hokom into a tie with Rebecca Cox for the lead. That was Allen taking a bogey. This is Pierce for par. And that's hole 8. Let's take a look at hole 9. We'll bring up, there it is, Val. Let's take a look at it.
Let's take a look here. Par 4, 534 feet. Starts off with a little bit of a tricky drive. You've got these trees to contend with. You're going to want to land on the right-hand side to give yourself a better angle for your second shot, which narrows in even more with trees just creating this tunnel effect and funneling toward the basket. Finishes off on a little bit of a slope toward the basket, which could help discs come in. But it's all about that first shot. Getting off the tee here is going to set you up better as you make your way down through the fairway. If you don't get that distance that you need, you're going to be struggling the entire way. So, yep, we're in those long, we're getting into the back 9. So things are going to get a little bit trickier.
Yeah, as we do come into the back 9, besides just a couple of holes, everything's in the woods. And Paige Pierce better figure out that release point pretty soon, because otherwise she's going to be, playing a little army golf, left, right. So, we'll see how that turns out. But really, all the way, besides Paige Pierce, I think, again, there's still a ton of holes to play, but unless Paige can figure things out soon, she's pretty much out of it. Although I should watch myself, because this is the FPO and anything can happen, even come down the last couple of holes. But it's bunched up. I mean, there's nowhere we can really go. We just got to kind of let things kind of get to us, come to us, let the holes go by and see where everything falls. It's such a different, it's got such a different kind of flow to it, this format, I guess. I'm trying to put this all together. It's a different format. It's a different flow, right? So Paige Pierce, yeah, she wants to go low. It's just about being in the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that you're just trying to shoot the hot round every single time. Just get yourself in that top 4. Get yourself into those finals, and then anything can happen. There still is a championship here to think about. And you just got to know the rules and get yourself into that top group.
That's the smart way to play. I don't know if that is what Paige is thinking about. She always just wants to shoot the best golf she can. And right now, it isn't about this score adding on to tomorrow's score and that results in the winner. It is starting from square one each and every round. So exactly like you said, just getting into that top 4 today is the most important thing. Tomorrow, it's about winning. Tomorrow is about the best score wins. And so today it's about the top 4 scores win today, heading into tomorrow's final round.
Yeah, and the top 4 scores tomorrow could be totally different. And this is Holly Finley up on hole 12 now, as our second card is on the 12th hole. This is Holly Finley.
Wow.
For par.
She gave it a good run there. Good height. And really quite an advantage to be on hole 12. They're scooting right along. And so they're going to be finished with leaving that featured card with about 4 holes to play. And so when this group finishes up, a player like Holly Finley will be waiting to see how everything shakes up and to see if she'll actually scoot into that group.
Yeah, now we just saw the par putt of Haley King. Now with Haley, and we got the picture-in-picture now. We see Holcomb teeing off there on 9. With Haley, she hasn't played great. She birdied the first hole, went 3 bogeys in a row, took a double bogey on 7, but she's parred everything else, and she's at 4 over. And I think I was saying 2 or 3 over gets you in just a little bit ago. So I think Haley can continue to get on this par streak. and finish out strong, Haley could still become a factor. So she just has to avoid any major numbers and just keep strong with those pars. But Holly Finley has taken another bogey. She's bounced back backwards. And at this point, the board looks like the first group and the second group. The first group is all in. The second group is not. But I think a lot is still yet to come.
We just had 2 shots off the tee. Paige Pierce is on the left-hand side of the fairway. She was pretty disappointed with that shot. It's going to leave her with a very tricky second shot. She might even have to just pitch out into the opening. Rebecca Cox, on the other hand, she's on the right-hand side. I think she's going to be set up really well. And I think Catrina was looking for a little bit more of a flip up there. That just held the hyzer line the entire way. She's going to be on the left-hand side of the fairway. Edge of the trees. Might be able to reach out. That's all 4 players off the tee. We will catch up with the group in just a minute.
Today, we'll be talking about the Nuke. The Nuke is a wide-rimmed, fast, maximum distance driver. When throwing on a wide-open course with the Nuke, I'm using it to unleash maximum backhand distance potential. Due to its slim profile and wide rim, the Nuke also fits really well in the hand when throwing sidearms. If I'm looking to throw down some boom sauce, I'm going with the Nuke. You can pick one up at discraft.com or your local disc golf retailer.
And welcome back, and want to give another thank you out to Discraft, another one of the 6 premier sponsors that came together to allow the Tour Championship to happen. There you go. You can see the graphic at the bottom of the screen. So thank you to all those premier sponsors for really stepping up big and allowing the Tour Championship to be such an elite event.
And while we were at commercial there, Val, we heard in our ear from one of our cameramen that Catrina Allen did just pitch out. She came up to her shot very quickly and threw, I think, a sidearm roller up and out just to get herself moved forward. And then we just saw the shot of Rebecca Cox, unable to really just get herself online. I mean, you can see she's perfectly lined up with the fairway and just had an early release, and she's now kicked into a much worse position at this point.
The terrain on this course is so interesting. There's a few of these holes that have these moguls or these mounds on the second half of the hole. And so it forces the players to throw a little bit higher. And so it's just really difficult to get that distance that you need. But Sarah Hokom using the complete flight out of her disc.
Yeah, I liked that shot a lot. It's a little bit short, but right in the middle. So no problems for Holcomb. She's going to have that putt right there.
But not only do you have the trees to contend with, but we throw a little elevation in there just to make it a little bit more interesting.
Now, this really is just such a great course, though. It brings in so many different elements. It puts our players in a very uncomfortable position, which I think is great for this type of format because really it's anybody's game. No matter what, no matter where you're playing, it seems like the cream always rises to the top, right? Our best players always seem to play the best at the end of the day. But one bad round and you're done. You're gone. So we'll see what can happen here at this point. I mean, you look at Allen and Pierce. I mean, they're 3 over par. And so they got to either just get steady. Ooh, I like this. Look at that shot.
Oh my.
What an incredible shot by Paige Pierce.
Beautiful shot. That's going to be a huge save for her.
I don't know how many of our fans at home could imagine throwing a standstill backhand shot like that with that much power. That was incredible by Paige.
Yeah, the most impressive part was the power that she put behind it and hitting that accurate line.
Yeah.
That it was just dead straight the entire way. Now, most times that you attempt that shot, you're going to hit the tree in front of you.
Yeah.
But to get that opportunity to basically park it from there, really great shot.
Now this is Cat lying 2, so she's throwing her 3rd. And we see this with Allen every once in a while, you know, when she's not playing well, she kind of just plays quick and just kind of waits for things to turn around. I don't think you can really do that here in this, you know, in this format, because again, one bad round and you're done, you know, because, you know, in a 4-round tournament, let's say, you know, and you have a bad 9, right? So you just have a bad 9 holes, you can still recover. You got a ton of holes, a ton of, you know, golf left. In this case, you have a bad 9 and you're going home. You're not going to have that opportunity to raise that trophy. And as you get to each individual round, the money ratchets up. There's more money on the line. There's more money opportunities. So I think you got to keep your cool here. This is all about the mental challenges along with the physical challenges. Not sure that was the line Rebecca wanted, but she got through.
And when you don't hit any trees on a throw on this course, you should be pretty stoked.
Yeah, feeling good about that.
And I'll take this second to welcome anybody that is just joining us. We're already on the 9th hole here of the semifinals for the women. We've got 8 players competing right now. We've got cameras on both groups, but right now it seems that our lead card is claiming the top 4 positions, and the top 4 best scorers will advance to tomorrow's final round. So there's a lot on the line. Got 8 players, but chopping them in half after today's round. So you got to be in that top 4 if you want to compete for the Tour Championship.
Yeah, well said, Val. With, as you said, Pierce and Allen, all 4 of these players are our top 4 at the moment. Pierce and Allen are at 3 over par. Lisa Fakis is at 3 over. Holly Finley is at 3 over. And Haley King is at 4 over. So that basically puts 7 of the 8 players all within just either tied or 1 stroke of getting into that top 4.
That's how you want it to be. That's how you want a tournament like this to be, this bracket style where people are just scraping their way to get into those very limited amount of spots. You want it to be that tight race. And there's a reason it is. These are the 8 best players that we've seen throughout the Disc Golf Pro Tour this season. It's amazing to see them battling to the end. We know that they're going to put up the best scores out of the world, out of the female division in the entire world. So putting them on this pedestal here at the Tour Championships is bringing that competition to light.
Yeah, absolutely. The one lady who's probably watching back in Estonia, Kristen Tatar, we would have loved to see here, but unfortunately, just because of her being from Europe, she didn't have as many opportunities to play and wasn't able to gain the points. Oh, and look at that.
Hat flies off again, but roll that Zuka replay.
Oh my goodness.
Another huge putt from Paige Pierce.
In the words of Philo Brathwaite, this is feast or famine for Paige Pierce. It's either just absolute amazing stuff or stuff that you would not expect from her caliber. Oh my goodness, what impressive stuff. But yeah, Kristen wasn't able to make it into the finals just because she wasn't able to get enough points. But on air, we want to throw out a big congratulations to her for winning the women's nationals here in the U.S. as well as the Canadian nationals. Kind of a nice little back-to-back national titles for her. So big congratulations to her.
And that cards up a birdie for Paige Pierce. They're saying that's a 72-foot putt she just made.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. She also made a 65-footer back on hole 2. So she probably has more footage made in putting on 2 holes than probably all of Kat's total putts at this point. We haven't seen Kat make anything of any distance at this point. So the 2 putts have probably equaled 10 times what Kat has made in putting so far.
And sometimes that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just a drop in.
Yeah, there's no problems with drop-ins, that's for sure.
We're going to head over to hole 10. Hole 10 is a par 4, 496 feet. Again, the fairway is not more than about 15 feet wide this entire way. This shot could be a placement shot, a slow driver, or a nice skip.
Mm-hmm.
So it is 496 feet. So it is that distance that you have to overcome. And so we see that farther basket in the distance. But the FPO division, they're playing in this basket right here. It's a little bit more open. So it's 2-shot hole, and the skip at the end will get you into the basket.
Yeah, and really it's the tee shot. The tee shot has just this tight little area right off the beginning because of the there's like a gap you have to hit. If you hit it, you can get through, and it's not really too big of a problem.
Yeah, but this one caused some issues in yesterday's round for both the FPO division and the MPO division. And you're starting to make your way into those little bit more challenging back 9 holes.
Yep. So here's Pierce. You see what she's got to deal with? That's that little barrier you got to get through with that U-shaped vine. It's just hanging off the trees. These vines are huge. Oh, and a good second kick. That was a good second kick to keep her in the open.
And there's that aggressive Paige Pierce gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
She had so much power behind that, but we know how narrow this fairway is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, players with maybe a little bit more of a conserved gameplay might just throw mid-ranges down the way. And I remember that from playing this course many, many moons ago. But disking down, throwing a mid-range shot, even if it's taking you a little bit longer, you're staying in the middle of the fairway, and you don't have to constantly go back and forth and kind of riding that emotional roller coaster of not hitting the lines that you want. And so conservative play out here, I think that's the way to go. We'll see how Paige's aggressive play plays out because we know she's going to continue to do that.
Oh, what a nice little kiss there for Cox. That was sweet.
I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want a nicer.
I was holding my breath, that's for sure.
Woo.
As I'm sure she was as well. Cat goes with the big aggressive. Ooh, she's got it straight and through, but too straight and too far through. Wow, she's gone deep into the woods. We'll see if she's able to get on out. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, man, you ready to go play some disc golf?
Yeah. Let me get my discs.
Come on, man. We only have like 20 minutes till we have to be at the players' meeting. I'm ready. What is happening here?
Dynamic Discs, they just came out with the new Cadet backpack bag. I figure at $24.99, why not get all 4? Can I get some help here? No!
And thank you to the PDGA for their continued support of the Disc Golf Pro Tour, as well as the Tour Championship. And we are back on hole 10. This is where Paige Pierce's drive ended up.
The size of that vine, incredible.
Wow.
And another standstill beauty. I took a late kick, but that was still a beautiful standstill. She's gotten way up the fairway at this point, and she should have an opportunity to save that par.
It was a really nice shot.
Boy, she
I
should
was
just be
worried for a
standstill the
second.
whole way.
Yeah. She does have so much power, and you can just, we all wonder where all that power comes from, Paige, and it's all about that technique.
Yeah.
And even if you take the legs out of the equation, she's got that pop. She's got that timing down so well. The reach back, everything just lines up, and that's how she's able to get that snap behind it, even without her legs being involved. And that's incredible. I mean, that just goes down to the foundations of disc golf. That goes down to the foundations of just your technique and timing. And so I recommend that to anyone if they're feeling like their throws are a little bit off, getting back to remembering the foundations. Maybe take a few of those, maybe take your feet out of the equation, take that footwork out, and really work on utilizing your body to create the power.
Holcomb also attempting the standstill and just pulled it a little bit, but really not too bad. She's going to be able to most likely get up and down for par from that point. And now we see where Rebecca has put herself. She took that little kiss off of the last tree, off the tee shot. And we saw Rebecca just a couple of holes ago in a great position and make a bad shot. Let's see if she's able to make the adjustment here and put herself in position. Oh, she's done that beautifully. Yeah, she's going to have a birdie putt from that point.
That was great. I mean, that's textbook what Rebecca just did, playing this hole, giving yourself a good look at a birdie. And nobody's looking like they're making quite a move. Holly Finley is now tied for fourth, so she's just riding that line.
Yeah.
We're on UDisc Live, so if you want to go over there and check out how the scores are shaping up, you'll be able to see how the scores are faring. But she's currently tied with Lisa Fakis, who's making a little bit of a move. Par, while Holly's racked up a couple of bogey strokes in the last few holes.
Yeah, definitely. But again, it's not, there's not so much bouncing. It's just sort of people going down and people coming up because of it, and I don't see a ton of birdie opportunities in this back nine. Of course there are, but I think it's going to be about avoiding those bogeys.
Yes. Par is good out here. And while we have a minute, while we wait for Catrina Allen, I want to give another couple of shout outs to the Charlotte Disc Golf Club volunteers. We've got Brian Miller, Brian Tim, Chase Overcash, Chris Brown. Thank you to you guys for putting in the time and dedicating yourself to the sport of disc golf. And we know that Charlotte has one of the biggest disc golf clubs in the entire world. So it's amazing that these guys are also not just disc golf fanatics, but they're also dedicating some time to give back to the sport, to help it grow, to put their local courses in the spotlight like this here this weekend at the Tour Championship.
Boy, and what a shot there from Allen, Val. She was able to chip out of those woods and put herself in position for birdie. A very makeable putt, pretty much, again, for this caliber of player. She was only 12, 15 feet away. So that's a nice birdie opportunity for her, and one that she really needs at this point. This will bump her up into that 4th position. Remember, folks at home, if you're watching on UDisc, and you might be wondering how the ties are dealt with. The ties are dealt with by Disc Golf Pro Tour points. So the more points that you gathered throughout the regular season is why or how you get the tie-break win. We saw a bit of controversy with that yesterday with Big Germ and Nate Perkins. Big Germ thought he had more points, but actually he was 0.2 of a point behind Big Germ, or in front of Big Germ, and Nate Perkins got the bid into the semifinals. So that's just the way it is. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, I guess.
Get in.
Woo. Nice shot.
What a great run there from Sarah. That would have been a nice Zuka replay right there.
Yeah, it would have.
But 0.2 of a point.
Yeah, 0.2.
It's weird how that all shakes out, as the tour continues and tournaments happen, ties here and there. That's how the points really break down. But when it comes down to it and you're that close, you need to be checking up on those scores. You need to know who's going to have the advantage. It sounds like Big Germ actually laid up thinking he was going to get the advantage, and unfortunately he won't be playing today because of that.
Yeah, exactly. He assumed based on just his positioning on the scorecard. Either way, there was a whole lot of things that were mistakes made there, but it does come down to that 0.2 was one throw over an entire season. Right? Had Big Germ at one point thrown one throw better, had not had one OB over Nate Perkins, he would have had a point or two more, and then he would have been into the semifinal. So it just goes to show you how important all of that is.
We're going to throw it over to Jamie Thomas for an update on the course.
And by the time the FPO card tees off, we may be in some very different conditions than when the ladies started. Right behind me, the feature card is playing hole 10. It's been a pretty slow round. You can feel that the energy on the card, the vibe is a little lower. You can feel the pressure starting to build as each shot takes these women closer and closer to that big final paycheck. If you're paying attention to the cut line, you're going to see the names jumping all over the screen. Just a few holes back, only one of these 4 was inside the cut line. Now it's back to 3. Holly Finley, Lisa Fakis, and a couple others, they are fighting for their lives here to make it to the final round. I know you guys are warm back in the booth, Nate and Val. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm actually not that warm. I actually need a blanket, but
we got the air conditioning going on in here. But thanks, JT. Oh man, it looked like it was in, and now it's out. But yeah, thanks to JT for that little update on course. And yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear in person the pressure, or this feeling is not just what we're feeling through the cameras and what our fans are feeling at home. It's real. That pressure is definitely ramping up. There's a birdie. Boy, none of our players, we have not had a single hole where all the players did the same thing.
No, it's kind of all over the place, and nobody's even playing the holes the same way. Nobody's even playing down the fairway. I mean, Catrina Allen crushed it way beyond the fairway, played her way back. Rebecca Cox played down the middle, giving herself a birdie look on this hole. But yeah, nobody's on the same page.
Boy, and right as that was happening, right as Kat was tapping in her birdie, Holly Finley just made a birdie up on hole 14 to pop herself to 2 over par with just 3 holes to play. 4 holes to play, right? That was on 14. So 4 holes to play for her. But still, that's big for Holly because she's now at 2 over. And let's see, I think that cut line is going to be right around 2 over. So 2 or 3 over, and she's going to get herself in there. That's a big birdie.
That's a big birdie, and they are 4 holes ahead. So a lot can happen. Holly's going to be sitting in the clubhouse just watching you disc and seeing how these scores shape up. But Holly's giving herself a great opportunity to be in that top 4 going into tomorrow's final round. We're going to head over to hole 11, par 4, 474 feet. This one starts out pretty straight. Another one of those placement holes. Then it works its way to the left-hand side. There's a lot of trees kind of just placed right in the middle all the way down the fairway. So you're going to have to choose whether you're going to be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. And hopefully your drive puts you in a good position to start.
Yeah, I've said this many times throughout our coverage these last couple of days, and there we see the actual caddy book view of it as well. But it's just a classic hornet's nest type hole. The way these holes were designed back when the course was put in with some of the early iterations of par 4s in the woods, and it's very much a placement shot. You have to pick a position and put yourself into that position. Let's see if Kat is able to do that here. Oh, yeah.
Hugging the right-hand side. She's going to be on the turn, headed toward the basket.
That was a great-looking shot.
This course is the Disc Golf Pro Tour Gold layout. The men and women share tee pads sometimes, share baskets sometimes. There's also lots of opportunities for different tee placements, but it is a par 65 for the women. The men's course is a par 63. It goes to show you there's lots of par 4s out here. There's even a par 5. It's very challenging in the woods. And that's how all these courses are here in Charlotte. They're just very tightly wooded. We got to span across, I think, 5 different courses. And this is back in the heyday, back in 2012 when the World Championships were here. And that's how long it's been since we played these courses. But the course is just set up. There's a lot of woods here in Charlotte, and the community is really behind disc golf and allows these courses to be installed. And as long as the club is there able to carve these fairways out of these really tightly wooded areas, it just creates more opportunities for the club to continue to grow.
And hey-oh, Holly Finley just picked up another birdie, as well as Lisa Fakis. So both of those two, as Paige puts herself in great position. We're going to take a break. We're going to look at the scores. We'll be right back.
My name is Thomas Ekström. I'm the disc designer for Latitude 64. This is the keystone. I wanted to design a disc that had minimum fade when putting. I wanted it to be slightly understable for those nose-up approach shots. I'm super proud of the keystone. It went straight into my own bag, and you should try it as well.
We are back with Sarah Hokom, who's just on the right side. She was unable to get it into the proper landing zone. She's going to have to make a recovery shot from here. And I would say, Val, or let me think what you think on this. If you get off the fairway on this back nine, are you going to have any chance to get your birdie? I would say it's probably less than 5% chance of getting a birdie if you get off of the fairway, off of the tee.
I was going to say it's a 4% chance.
Oh, 4%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was between 4 and 5. I rounded up.
Yeah.
But yeah, as we went off on commercial there, I gave a big hey-oh. That's because Holly Finley has went back-to-back birdies. She's now 1 over par, and she's currently tied for the lead at this moment. So, man, it's getting tight. All of a sudden, Holly Finley's at the top of the board, tied with Sarah Hokom. And Rebecca Cox is right there, along with Lisa Fakis, who picked up a birdie on 15 as well. And remember, 15 is that gauntlet hole that we saw yesterday. So those players able to play that hole very, very well. And again, I think there's a huge advantage here to setting a score that the players have to try to beat. I think that's the most difficult thing, certainly in a wooded course, that you get a little bit of tense, you get a little bit of tight, and then all of a sudden you make that mistake.
Oh, she didn't like how that released right out of her hands. But yeah, I would agree, especially if the players are going to be checking the scores and need to know what it's going to take down the stretch, putting that little added pressure of knowing what they have to do could really break a player unless they kind of need that little bit of an encouragement. But in a wooded course like this, you don't need that added pressure.
Oh boy, and just on another camera, by the way, folks, I just saw where Holly's drive was on hole 16, and it was not good. So she's going to be struggling. Again, the yo-yoing continues. She's going to be struggling to even make bogey on the from this point forward on 16. So while there's a bit of positive going on with back-to-back birdies, it looks like a bogey is in her potential future.
Then she's got the very difficult hole 17.
Right.
18's relatively easy, pretty wide open, but 17 can also bust out big numbers. She's going to want to be focused on getting a par on that one, and I think she'll be sitting really well while she waits for the other scores to come in.
And now we've caught Allen there. Oh, and she's pulled it just to the right. And right before that, we didn't mention how Pierce had put hers up in good position for birdie. So while some struggling's happening up on 16, these players on 11 are seemingly playing very well and possibly able to make a couple of birdies here, pop themselves back into that top 4. Playing Cox from a pretty good position off the tee. Didn't make a great second shot, and now she's left herself with this difficult third. She's got the tree right in front of her, Val. Interesting to even be doing a run-up here. Ooh, wow. Went with the hyzer line.
I guess she had enough room to work that.
Barely. Able to make it work, though. She's going to have a putt. We're going to go over and see Holly Finley. This is her third shot, folks. She's not even barely down the hill. She has to get it down and around that corner to the basket. This is her third shot. Holly is currently tied for the lead. Oh, and she's hit the tree right in front of her. So now a double bogey is coming for Holly. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. She just did so much hard work to get back-to-back birdies, pump herself into that, going into those finals, and now the double bogey is coming.
And Holly has earned her way to be here. She played in yesterday's quarterfinals that happened yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And shooting the hot round.
And shooting the hot round. So it would be really great to see her work her way into this top 4. Be fun to see how her entire round plays out. We weren't able to catch it, but we caught a few holes here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But today's round, just a little bit more of an up and down, a lot more bogeys, a lot less pars than she had on her scorecard yesterday.
Yeah, and now Holcomb's going to have an outside chance at par from that position as well. And Val with Holly Finley looking at double bogey at best. Now the question goes over to Lisa Fakis. And what is Lisa doing over on 16? UDisc has her in the fairway after 2 throws, which means that she's not even inside circle 2 at this point. So looks like bogey is potentially in her future as well. Yeah, man, these players just can't get out of their own way at this point. Just gotta play. Now Holly's 4th shot, she's chipped it down really close to the basket.
Wow.
Oh, there we go. Let's roll that Zuka replay if we have it. I'm sure we do. Oh, we do. There we go. Roll it, baby. Look at this thing. Whew. Bam, on the left side.
That was pretty huge. I mean, left side hyzer with the tree on the right. I mean, that was a difficult shot, difficult footing, but Kat made that look pretty easy.
And while our players up on 16 are struggling, our players back on hole 11 are not. They're doing just fine, looking to be in prime position to pounce on these top 4 positions.
And that was considered a 49-foot putt for par for Catrina Allen, sitting in tied for 5th with Paige. Right below the line.
We have to remember Paige Pierce has a birdie putt coming up as well. This is for par for Holcomb.
Thought the camera froze for a second, but that is just how still and focused Sarah Hokom is lining up this putt.
Basket high, chain high, just a little bit to the right. She's stayed close, so she's going to pick up a bogey, move herself to 2 over. And if Rebecca Cox is able to knock this putt in, she'll stay at 2 over. And then all of a sudden, everybody's going to be tied at 2 over again. So it's one of those things, you know. Nothing is for sure with these ladies today.
Here's that birdie putt you were talking about for Paige. A little bit of elevation to the basket. She's got to make sure she's got enough height as well as power behind it.
And we saw the picture-in-picture. Holly able to tap in her double bogey, but Paige Pierce unable to convert on the birdie putt. Oh, and Rebecca able to sneak it in on that left side. So now everything's kind of coming together. That was Rebecca Cox for par. That's wrong. She actually took a par on this one, folks. So she's actually going to be at 2 over. And then they actually have Kat with a par, which is incorrect as well. She took a birdie there, as that was that long birdie putt that she made. So we'll let the players get over the next tee. We'll let the UDisc people shake it all out and figure it all out. But here we are on the 12th hole. Let's take a look at it, Val.
Hole 12, 504 feet. This one is just long and straight. Look at how narrow the fairway is. Players have to continue to keep themselves within the range of the fairway, which again is only about 15 feet wide the entire way. So choosing, I think, maybe an understable disc and working that flip up is going to be the best chance, or you could play safe and play with that mid-range shot all the way down the fairway. But we know these players are going big because they don't want to go home. So we're going to see some, I'm sure, some big shots being pulled out off the tee.
Well said there, Val. And we'll pull up the scores. Now, the problem with that I see with the scores, Rebecca Cox is actually at 2 over par. Catrina Allen is actually at 2 over par as well. So those will shake out here in just a little bit as the UDisc people listen to our players actually filling out their card. They'll go ahead and make those adjustments. But what does that leave us with? Cox, Hokom, and Allen all at 2 over. Pierce at 3 over. But right behind them, Fakis and Finley, 3 over par. Now they have 17 and 18 to play. And I would say this right now, Val, I think if one of them can get into the clubhouse at 3 over, I think one of them makes it in. That's a lot easier said than done, but I do feel that that is possibly the case, that 3 over par gets in. Early on in the round, I said 2 or 3 was going to be the cut line. I still believe that to be true. Very fortunate.
Allen, yes, very fortunate. Getting a nice kick.
Yeah.
Kind of a backwards kick, but choosing the very left-hand side of the gap. There's lots of options you can do on this. There is a wider fairway right down the middle, but any way you can get it down the fairway works for me.
Oh, I like this from Rebecca. Oh, what a beauty. Yeah, right down the middle. And again, this is one of the things you have to remember. We see all these woods folks, but North Carolina people, I remember back in the day having a conversation with Schwebby and a few other North Carolina players. I mean, the fairways are fair. I mean, they're clear pretty much in the middle. You just got to hit those lines. They're tough lines to hit, but they're there for the taking. Oh, Paige thinks she's got it on a great line, and she absolutely does.
That was huge.
Yeah, the rich get richer with that little kick at the end. What a shot. It's 100 feet past Rebecca.
That was big. And you don't see that too often. You don't allow yourself to get that too many opportunities to throw those distance shots in the woods, but when you can pure it, you'll be getting that distance.
Gosh, it seems like every shot Pierce throws is a distance shot.
A little bit of a layup on the right-hand side of the fairway for Holcomb. That's all 4 players. We're throwing it to commercial. We'll catch up with them in the fairway.
When you order from Dynamic Discs, we do our best from start to finish. First, we receive your order from the website and print out the packing slip detailing the specific items you selected. Then, your order is pulled directly from the shelves, packed in a cardboard box to prevent bending during transit, and quickly on its way to you with free shipping. For every purchase online with Dynamic Discs, you'll receive rewards points so you can save on your next order. We'll work with you to make sure you get the exact disc you're looking for. For anything from Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, or Westside Discs, head to dynamicdiscs.com.
We're out here with Sarah Hokom just before the semifinals round. Sarah, I know some of the ladies that are coming in today, 4 of them have already played a competition round on this course. Do you feel like that gives them any sort of advantage, or do you feel comfortable with just your practice rounds?
I think it does give them a bit of an advantage. You know, it does feel weird coming into this final round, as it almost feels like, well, it feels like a final round, even though there's possibly a next round, but that, you know, we're all in the hunt, and I haven't played the course yet in competition. So I got 3 really good practice rounds in, so I feel confident with my game plan.
I know you won Worlds out here in 2012. Do you feel any sort of, feelings bubbling up from that experience? Or what do you have about that?
Sure. So hole 4 is similar to the hole we played to finish, which is where I made the putt to win a title. So there's a bit of nostalgia.
Awesome. And it's good to be back out here in Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
Do you have?
I've got to reconnect with people that when I lived here that I hadn't seen in a lot of years. So it's been fun.
Do you have anyone you want to shout out to before we start the semifinal round?
MVP Disc Sports.
Awesome. Well, good luck out there.
And that was a little bit of an interview from Sarah Hokom. And it was interesting to hear. I had forgotten that she lived in North Carolina. I'm not sure how long that was, but that probably gave her a good advantage to play on these courses, play in the league nights. And so building up that confidence on these courses and bringing up those good thoughts of being at Worlds, winning here, living here. So it's kind of, we can see in our score, it's kind of paying off right now. Sarah Hokom is above that cut line, playing really well and tied in the first position right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting. 2012 was the last time that any of these players have played here. And for such a great disc golfing city, I'm so surprised that we haven't been back there for a big event.
And Sarah maybe was the only player that was playing?
No, I think Pierce was there.
Was Paige playing in the Pro Worlds that year?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But
definitely not Rebecca Cox. She was probably like 13 years old or something like that. But
probably younger than that, actually.
Yeah. And I think Kat was also in that world. So it's been a while, but and what a shot there by Rebecca. So she had a great tee shot and a very nice second shot. That's going to be a huge birdie opportunity for her. We did see while you were reacting to Sarah's interview that Kat took a horrible second kick into the woods. She kind of kicked off a middle tree and then kicked even deeper into the woods from there. So we'll see where she was able to end up. We were just seeing on another camera Holly throwing a shot, but it looks as if she's going to do no better than bogey on number 17. So I'm almost thinking that Holly's possibilities of getting in are being dashed at this point by 16 and 17. And again, you never know, right?
Ooh, a nice upshot there. And while we have a second, I'd like to thank Latitude 64 as well as Westside Discs, two of our premier sponsors of the Tour Championship this weekend. Without them, this event would not be as much of a showcase as it is right now, and these players are fighting for these top 4 spots. This is the women's semifinals. Tomorrow, the finals break down. Both divisions, FPO and the MPO, will narrow it down to just 4 spots going into those finals tomorrow.
Yeah, think of how uncomfortable the players are. I mean, we've heard, from Holcomb, she's talking about, this feels like a final round, even though tomorrow could be another round. So, there's just, it's not normal, this thought process. So the players have to make a little bit of an adjustment. And a beautiful upshot there by Holcomb. That white disc there was the disc of Catrina Allen chipping out of those woods. So she's going to be able to save her par, which is huge at this point.
Yeah, Kat is doing really well right now. 2 birdies on 10 and 11, and now to follow it up with a par. If she parred out right now, she'd be sitting pretty for tomorrow's finals.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all razor thin, though, right now. Unfortunately, I just don't think Lisa and or Holly are doing what they need to do to set that score. Oh, boy, and that was for eagle for Pierce. I mean, that would have been incredible. Looks like it's going to be a tap-in birdie for her, but Lisa and Holly are just not doing what they needed to do to put the pressure on the players that are ahead of them. Because I think if you just rewound a hole ago, if they just parred out, boy, they would have put a ton of pressure on these players up ahead of them. So we see, that as a real issue. We're going to see right there. That's the disc of Lisa. Ooh, she got it through pretty well. And she's going to have an opportunity there to make a par putt. But Holly Finley is still putting for bogey at this point. So there's the birdie for Pierce.
And that's the thing, knowing that not much can happen on hole 18, not much can happen for Lisa or Holly. But with another stroke adding on to Holly's scorecard, Lisa might have the best advantage to squeak in there. We'll have to wait and see. Again, they're almost done. We are just on hole 12 here with the featured card. There's quite a gap between the two groups. With a lot of difficult holes. We've got the par 5 coming up next, which could add up some strokes. Got a couple par 3s in there, but birdie opportunities. And then again, 17. That hole is so challenging that strokes can add up there. And then 18 kind of pressure's off. It's wide open. So still a couple holes left where strokes can add up.
Yeah, and boy, Lisa just laying it up. I'm not well, obviously she has her, she has her game plan. At this point, I would have went for that. I think that putt needed to go in. Obviously, she just wasn't feeling it, but she's a good putter from outside the circle. Had she been able to make that par, then she could have put a little bit of pressure on Pierce, or any of the people that are ahead of her. Now she's just giving even a bigger gap.
And she must not be looking at the scores right now because this is it. That was her opportunity to save a stroke. And at this point, laying up could just knock her out.
Yeah.
I mean, that was your opportunity. You needed to take it while you could, even if it was kind of an outside chance to even make it.
Yeah. And obviously, and again, we know Pierce birdied hole number 12 there, but it's 1 over and 3 2-overs. That's the lead right now. I think Lisa was at 3 over. She needed to make that putt and par 18 and be at 3 over. And then you put a little bit of pressure on them to not make that big mistake. 1 double bogey and boom, they're out of it. So I think I question that. Maybe I shouldn't, but anyways, that's our job.
I question it as well. It's like you're walking up on hole 18 at Maple Hill. It's the final round. You've got 1 hole to play. You need to check the scorecard. You need to know if you're going to go for it or not.
Yeah.
And that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and it's like Germ yesterday, quote unquote, laying up on 18 because he thought there was a situation that he just didn't know for a fact. And so that's one of those things where whether you bring your phone out there, like I was a player that didn't have my phone. I never had it with me. I didn't open it, look at it during the round, but I would certainly, in this case, I would be asking, hey, what's the situation? Where are the other players? I'd be asking our UDisc scorecard keeper to just show me or bring it up so that I could pay attention to it. But right there, Fakis is going to give a stroke back, and let's see what she can do on 18. 18, let's take a look at it, Val. Here we go.
So here's hole 18, par 3, 400 feet. So after playing in the woods and especially after playing hole 17, this is a little bit of a relief. Pretty much wide open, but you got to judge the distance. You got to pull out the right distance driver to allow you to get a putt on this one. So who knows? This could be that birdie that Lisa needs. Could get that stroke back. We'll see. But still, 400 feet is a pretty big tug out of this division.
Yes, it is. And no, it isn't. I mean, it is wide open. It's slightly downhill. So I think probably playing 360, maybe 370. So I think gettable. And the person right now that needs to get it is Lisa Fakis. I mean, Lisa Fakis needs to put it down there within range. Holly Finley needs to do the same. They need to put it down there and give themselves an opportunity. Now, for everybody at home wondering what those people are looking at and why they're not looking down 18, the tee pad of 13 is just adjacent to the tee pad of 18. So this is a good little kind of crossover point, I guess.
Yeah, isn't that great timing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that both groups get to see each other. This is the competition right here. This is the entire tournament within this 50 square foot area. And there is a leaderboard following our featured card.
So that'd be a good spot to kind of look at what's going on. You know, where they at, where they are. Plus, you have players like, you know, you got people like Madison, you got people like Terry there. Hey, check in. What's going on?
And it is funny. We see a little powwow happening between Madison and Terry, and there's Jamie Thomas trying to keep warm, but they know what's going on. They know the storyline here. But congratulations to these 4 players for making it into the semifinal round. And again, we have Paige Pierce, Haley King, Holly Finley, and Lisa Fakis making it into the top 8 here at the Tour Championship.
FYI, Paige Pierce birdied number 17. So big birdie for her. And she's got that disc down there just outside that circle range. Paige, not one of the biggest throwers. And I think this shot right here is so key. Lisa Fakis, I don't care how fatigued you are, you got to put absolutely everything into this shot right now.
Doesn't seem to be flipped up enough to get the distance.
Yeah, so
let's hope she doesn't lay this up. Let's hope somebody gets into her ear and says, just make a little run here.
Right. Can Holly get it flipped up? Oh, she's got a little bit of a turnout. Holly's not one of the biggest throwers out there, but it's going to give her an opportunity to make a long putt as well. So a couple of long birdie looks for those 2 players. If they're able to make it, can it miss that? Oh, just at the last second, you saw her reaction right along with mine. But we got 2 birdie putts coming up to see if they can establish a 3 over as the hot round for today. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
The Raptor was created for a specific shot, a specific distance, and especially comfort. A lot of thought went into the design of the Raptor. We wanted to make a disc comparable to the zone that just went a little bit further with that consistency. And with the Raptor, I really feel like we accomplished that.
And thank you to Discraft, another one of our very important premier sponsors of the Tour Championship.
Now, Val, we were just talking, and this is important, right? We were just talking in the break about how, yeah, 4 over is not horrible, you know, but these players are an extra stroke behind because if they're in a tie, they actually lose out to any of the players ahead of them. And look at this. Oh, right. Just short. Great line. But they have an extra stroke because if they tie with any of the players ahead of them, they lose out on getting into the final. So that's why I really thought that 3 over number was so important. 3 over, was so important that see if Holly can pop it in there. 2 good runs from distance, though. That means we're going to see those 2 players establish a 4-over number, which now any of our players ahead. And again, if they're looking at their phones, we just had a long conversation about it. Let's see if Paige can finish on it. Oh, what a run. If they're looking at their phones or they understand what the situation is, they just have to tie 4 over. So they would essentially have to shoot 5 over to miss out on getting into tomorrow's final. So the stage is set. We know the situation. We're going to see these players finish out this hole. We see Terry and Madison hanging around, so we might grab a post-round interview with one of these players, or maybe a couple of them, just to let them sort of get their last moments in to say something here for the season. And there's Holly tapping in.
And congratulations to Holly.
Yeah.
She had such a solid performance in these 2 rounds that we were able to see her play at the Tour Championship. She loves her wooded courses, and she played really solid golf. Today's round wasn't as clean as yesterday, but she still holds on to the hot score of the weekend so far. We don't see anybody creeping in just yet, but she shot a 1 under yesterday, so that puts her up for the Innova $500 bounty for a hot score. So we'll see how the players finish up tomorrow in the finals, so they'll have another stab at getting that hot score. But at this point, Holly's got $500 in her pocket.
Yeah, wouldn't it be interesting too, right? So let's just create the scenario where she doesn't make it into the finals. She'd be out there going, hey, let's see if anybody's going to shoot 1 under, because I can make an extra $500 and not even have to play the last day. Well, of course she would want to play the last day, but that's just the scenario we're talking about there. So we're back here with our featured card. At this point, these are the only people on the course. The men's cards are going to go out here in about 40 minutes ish. Our early cards, and then we have 1:30 Eastern, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 out here on the Pacific for our featured card on the men's side of things. So all eyes on these cards right here. And Sarah able to nestle that one right up, and that's going to be for birdie, as she was in that position after 2 shots, Val.
And as you were saying those times, it's basically the live coverage is just going to continue on. We're going to take a very short break, but 1:30 Eastern, we're back with the men's semifinals. So the action is going to continue. The rounds were moved up a little bit. The women's rounds were moved up an hour. The men's rounds are moved up an hour and a half, trying to get ahead of the storm that we know is coming in. So hopefully we don't have to deal with any weather, but we do know that it is in the forecast still, and the tropical storms can bring in the wind, can bring in the rain. Hopefully not lightning, because that would be a point where we'd have to postpone the round, make for a really long day for these players.
And there we see Kat chipping out of there, and we believe she landed there after 2 shots, actually. So she looks like she's going to have a birdie opportunity here on 13. And really all of our players are playing this hole very well at this point. So it looks as if maybe they're all going to go a little bit further ahead of Lisa and Holly. Now, on a course like this, though, the opportunity to pick up a double bogey is always right there. A couple kicks into the woods, and bam, bam, bam. You're not looking so good. But I will say, our players of this featured card have been starting to play much better here on the back 9.
Whew.
What a putt!
Rebecca's had some on the left side. This one was far on the right side, but having that hyzer putt allows it just to swing in. Very nice putt from Rebecca. That's another birdie on her scorecard. It's 2 back-to-back.
And this is going to be Pierce for birdie as well. Well, what we think was birdie is really tough. Oh, no, that's an eagle. That was an eagle for Paige Pierce. So she actually just took a 3, moving herself to even par, getting one stroke closer to that hot round of Holly Finley. What a hole there by Paige Pierce.
That was pretty incredible. I mean, and that's a hole you can really unleash off of the tee. It's a little bit more open. And then as far as Paige can throw, I mean, it's going to set her up in the perfect position. Bummed we missed out on that, but thank you to UDisc and our scorekeeper out there on the course for giving us that little bit of an insight.
So
Pretty incredible.
All birdies and one eagle there on hole 13.
Well, that's all birds.
Yeah, that's all birds
Anyway.
of some sort with one eagle in there. Let's take a look at 14, Val.
Hole 14. It's 360 feet. It's a par 3. It sets up as it's a hyzer. It's a hyzer shot. You do have a little bit of a room for Sarah Hokom to throw her sidearm to work that angle, but it's going to set up really well for the backhand throwers.
Yeah, this is a gettable bird. I mean, it's only 360 feet. You just, there's a gap to hit. You put it on that gap, and the disc should pretty much do the rest of the work, really. The one thing is that it is on the high side of the fairway, so the discs are going to be working away. And we're going to be back here in the booth. Hey, well, I'm hidden it there, but that's okay. We see Madison lined up, Val. So let's hear from Holly and Lisa Fakis. So Madison, let's hear from those ladies and take it away.
I'm out here with Holly Finley and Lisa Fakis. They just tied in the semifinals round for the Pro Tour Championships, both sitting at 4 over par. We're waiting on the second card to come in. They're sitting a couple strokes ahead. We don't really know what's going to happen, but we do know they are tied. Out here at the Tour Points Championships, a tiebreaker is the Tour Points. Do you guys know who's sitting ahead in the Tour Points? Lisa's ahead of me. Okay. So we're waiting to see how many people come in, and if their 4 over pars is enough to make them enter into the top 4 spots to play again in the final round. I know both of you guys played the course yesterday. How did you feel about your round today, Lisa?
I shot 2 higher, so I had a little too many mistakes there in the beginning. I bogeyed the first hole, and the third hole I got a 7. So if I can erase those, that would have been a way better start. Besides that, I kept it really clean to get a +4.
Yeah, you kept the energy high all day, kept out the whole time. What about you, Holly?
Yesterday's round was a lot better. Today I had a lot more mistakes, but I still felt pretty good about it in the end, and I cleaned up a few of the holes at the finish, which stole my lunch money yesterday.
The same. So now we just sit and we wait for these other ladies to come in. We don't hope that they mess up, but we would love to see these ladies in the finals tomorrow, because how awesome is that, making it from the semis to the finals? Do you guys like this style of play?
Yeah, it's an exciting finale for the Pro Tour Finals. You look forward to it all year.
You know I love the wooded courses, so if somebody wants to put together a fully wooded tour, I'm the first one to sign up.
Yeah, I love the trend, how we've gone from more wide open and the Pro Tour finales, now we get to play on a really awesome wooded course. Thanks to everyone at Hornets Nest for putting in all the hard work to get the Pro Tour finale ready, and thank you guys for tuning in and watching these ladies compete at the highest level of disc golf. We'll throw it back to the booth.
Thanks to not only Madison, but our 2 competitors as well, Lisa and Holly, both with pretty high spirits there, feeling pretty good. They obviously knew that they had made some mistakes. Holly's shooting 4 strokes worse than yesterday, and Lisa shooting 2 strokes worse. Now, the interesting thing for me is that I hear Holly say, well, I cleaned things up. Oh, and Kat takes a bad kick there. She said she cleaned things up on holes that stole her lunch yesterday, which I believe was 14 and 15. And this year, I'm looking at the round from yesterday, and those 2 holes got her again. So 16 and 17 were the ones that got her yesterday. That's kind of a bummer. It is what it is. We'll just have to wait and see for them. We've already seen Paige Pierce park this hole. We've seen now Kat kick into the woods. Rebecca's in there as well. So birdie opportunities coming for our lead cards. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with you guys in here in just a minute.
When I need to check the wind,
I just let out my hair.
Disc golf is 90% mental. The other 10% also mental.
If you want to make new friends on the course, pick up someone's disc in the fairway by accident.
Stay getting birdies, my friends.
What do you think flatness and stiffness on this?
Somewhat flat, neutral stiffness. This is a good disc right here.
Curve to one. Got it. 2 more.
Danny, this is a sick one.
Dude, I gotta get through all these today.
Cheers to a good day, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's good.
It's a hard day.
That's great.
And welcome back here on hole 14. We've got half of our field completed in the clubhouse. Scores are in. We've got 4 other players fighting for those top 4 spots to allow them to compete for tomorrow's final round. This is the semifinal round. We're just waiting for the scores to happen right now. We're on hole 14, so still 5 scores.
Boy, and Kat having to go with the overhand, sort of sliding away from the basket there, but pretty good out for her. I mean, at this point, you just, again, you know, we're going to call it like we see it. I mean, these players have essentially, 5 strokes, because all they have to do is shoot 4 over or better. That's it. That's all we're talking about here. It doesn't matter about jockeying for position between themselves. This is a battle between them and the last 4 holes once we get to 15. So once they're done with this one, it's a battle between them and the last 4. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no other cards. There's no other thing. There's not even the scores between themselves don't matter. Maybe it's about building a little bit of confidence, getting ready for tomorrow, but you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself there. And boy, what's the difference between the best players in the world? And there's the fist pump.
Big putts?
Yeah.
That's probably the difference. That was a huge putt outside the circle for Catrina Allen. That was to save her par.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fist pump. So she knows where she's at. She knows that that's important. That's just going to help her bid. But to me, Val, what I was just about to say was the difference between the top players and the players that are just behind, right? That next 8 is their ability to finish. Our lead card here today started off this round horribly. Ups and downs, birdies and double bogeys and triple bogeys and OBs and all kinds of things. And now look at them. They're all getting birdies. They're all picking up big putts. They're playing well in the back 9. And so they're starting to feel comfortable. Of course, they didn't play yesterday, so now they're getting the momentum behind them.
Another big putt from Sarah Hokom. That putting stroke is just on point. And that was a birdie, bumping her up the list. I mean, we're going to see up and down just within these 4 players, but it's just going to continue to add to that gap between them over the cut line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Val, last 3 holes, there has not been a single bogey from any one of our players here on this card. Rebecca Cox has now birdied 3 straight holes. Paige Pierce is going to go birdie, eagle, birdie now. So she's gone 4 under in the last 3 holes. This goes back to a stretch for Paige Pierce in the middle of the round where she went bogey, birdie, triple bogey, birdie, double bogey.
It's
Incredible.
like night and day.
Incredible stuff.
From the
Hole
front
15,
round.
Val, what do we got?
To the back 9. Hole 15, it's a par 3, 269 feet. Another great opportunity for a birdie. You called this the gauntlet hole. is all about hitting that line, and all you have in front of you is just that straight shot. This is probably the most narrow fairway that the players will come across on the course, unless they're off the fairway making shots up, but it's about 10 feet wide. You have to hit the line. If you hit the line, you're going to be punching out. Slight slope up to the basket, making this hole feel a little bit longer, but that's all it is. Hit the line and you'll be up there putting for your birdie putt.
Yeah, and that board, or excuse me, that caddy book sheet did not show it, but there is a mandatory on this hole on the left side. If you miss that mandatory, you go directly to a drop zone. I think we saw Lisa do that yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
But we also saw Lisa and Holly birdie this hole. We didn't actually see the video of it, but we saw it on UDisc. So they were able to pierce it right through there and pick up those birdies. But the story right now for me is the way that our ladies have played just the last 3 holes.
Amazing.
Collectively, amongst these 4 of the last 3 holes, they're like 12 under par. I mean, they've all picked up a bunch of birdies. So they're playing better, or they're playing great when the heat is on. And this is, interesting, I guess, to say the least.
It's awesome. And then that's what they needed to do. I think the front 9 was just, it wasn't them. That was, I mean, so many bogeys. I mean, some horrible sidearm shots from Paige. A lot of OBs were adding up in the beginning half of the course where, I mean, there's no trees, but there's a lot out of bounds. Now they're finally getting into that momentum. I mean, it's the first round for these players.
Mm-hmm.
This is their first round on this course in the competitive field. So they're kind of now finally getting warmed up, I think. And even with the harder holes, almost makes you focus a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
The harder holes you're going to put a little bit more attention to, whereas maybe the front 9, they didn't really think it was going to be a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Great point there, Val. And Paige pierced that one through there and got herself into a birdie opportunity. Ooh, past the Mando, so no worries there. She's going to just have to chip out and around up to the basket. The hole's only 270 feet. So at least the distance is not that long here, but if you just go clean, you're gonna see it right away. Who was it yesterday? Chris Dickerson, we saw release and immediately fist pump because he knew he had it on a great line, got it through there.
The advantage of a sidearm is you get to see the gap the entire way. Hits a tree on the left-hand side.
After that big putt on the last hole, Kat is our 4th competitor who she took a par on the last while the rest had birdies. She's yanked that, but she's through. She's past the mandatory. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Passion is more than fiery emotion. It feeds the spark to start your day. It fuels your obsessions. It inspires your dreams. Passion challenges your fears, and it repeatedly bathes you in sweat until you are transformed into a new, better you. Disc golf isn't just your passion, it's ours too.
We're back here on hole 15 and like to give a shout out to Westside Disc for being a premier partner in the Tour Championship this weekend. as well as being a partner of the Disc Golf Pro Tour throughout the season.
See Hokom here just trying to figure out the angle. She's put herself in a pretty tricky position. You can see the basket there on the right side, that right side gap, where she was just kind of maybe thinking, maybe I can go with a little turnover sidearm. About picking the path of least resistance here. Tough stance, so she's going to go with the tight sidearm. Oh yeah.
A lot of body language there out of Sarah. That's still a tricky shot. It's not a hole that you want to get a bogey on, but putting yourself early off of the tee pad, I mean, the possibility is there. You see Rebecca lining up her up shot.
Yeah, pretty much wide open here. Nice shot there by Rebecca. You could tell halfway there it was going to be perfect. Cat's right over in that same area. And able to do the same as Rebecca, just chipping it up there. A couple of pars. It looks like Pierce is going to have a birdie opportunity, and we'll see if Holcomb can save her par. Holcomb's look to be about 25 feet or so. We'll see if Pierce is outside of that. It doesn't look like it. I think Holcomb's still going to be out. But I don't know. Nope, not at all. Looks like Pierce is going to be out, so she's going to be putting for birdie here.
Ugh.
Well, and it's an interesting thing, though, isn't it? Because that doesn't really matter. You know, because these scores don't transfer onto tomorrow, and it's just about beating the players that have already established a score. That doesn't matter. You know, but of course we could, making putts is important and continuing to keep the good feelings going. But
and keeping your streak going. That would have been
another 5 under in 4 holes.
Yeah, 5 under 4 holes for Paige. No extension on that putt for Sarah. And that's going to be a drop in bogey. Sitting at even par right now. It's going to put her at 1 over. Again, that cut line. She's got to do +4 or better to make it into tomorrow's round.
I think the only thing for Pierce and/or Cox is the Innova hot round bounty, the $500 bounty. If they're able to shoot a 2 under, they would establish a new hot score for going into tomorrow.
So there's another reason to make that putt.
That's true.
We're going to head over to hole 16, par 3. It's 357 feet. You're going to see as we creep up the fairway here, it's a tight gap to hit. But once you get your disc on a line, especially for the backhand throwers, you just let the disc do the work. It's going to hyzer out and funnel toward the basket as we head downhill to where the green is. Really, it's another one of those holes. Just hit the line and the disc will do the work. Hit the line and you'll be in the fairway. Hit the line.
Yeah, hit the line is the common thread there, huh?
Yes, exactly. It's a pretty clean hole, too. And on the course map, if we do pull that one up, there are 2 routes, and the one that players will be taking is the pretty obvious route. It is the one on the right-hand side of the screen. Even though it doesn't look as wide open as that inside route, that is the route that the players are going to be taking.
Yeah, just that inside route, the route that was on the left side. Did you notice it? No disc could ever fly that way. It, like, came left and then went back right and then came back left again. So yeah, they're going to take this gap right up the gut.
That was fortunate.
Very fortunate.
Just going to filter her way down to the bottom of the hill.
The main challenge here, Val, is that the gap between the front of this tee pad and the gap is about 100 feet. So if you're offline immediately, there's no way you're going to hit the gap. That's the hardest challenge. She's going to get around that tree. Oh, and she just beaten that tree. She would have been right down there looking at a birdie, but unfortunately, she's going to be scrambling for par.
And is that last tree, that's the one you have to beat on the backhand shot. Saw Chris Dickerson yesterday just pure it.
Yeah, we saw Montgomery. Monty.
Colton Montgomery, that's right. Actually hitting the basket. Barely missing those dark trees that we see in the distance and then hitting the top of the basket. That's right. Pretty incredible shot. It's always fun. I mean, it's a blind shot completely, so you don't know how good it is. You're just happy you missed the tree.
Right. Now, Hokom, I would imagine, is going to take this left side. Yes, she is. Asking for it to turn. She's happy with it. Hits the last big tree there. All 4 players are off. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
My name is Thomas Ekström. I'm the disc designer for Latitude 64. This is the keystone. I wanted to design a disc that had minimum fade when putting. I wanted it to be slightly understable for those nose up approach shots. I'm super proud of the keystone. It went straight into my own bag, and you should try it as well.
And thank you again to Latitude 64 and Westside Disc for being premier sponsors of the Tour Championship this weekend. And look at that shot from Rebecca Cox. What an incredible save. She's just going to have her par putt. Oh, man, struggling a little bit off of the tee pad. You never know what's going to happen, but this fairway is relatively clean. A nice hyzer route to the basket. We're figuring out who is going to be up next. We know that Paige got hung up a little bit. Sarah got hung up very early, choosing the left-hand gap. Sarah went with a backhand shot. We saw it finish up just at those blue flags. And here's Paige's lie. This is not looking good. This should just be a pitch out.
Yeah, even though we had said she got fortunate off the tee, you can tell just we were thinking fortunate because she at least penetrated down the fairway, but She's still in such a difficult position. Caddy get a little screen time in there. Oh, that was funny. Smart play. Just get it out. Don't get any bigger numbers than you have to. She's made some long putts today, so I think that's one that could still go in for Pierce at this point. She's got over 120 feet just in 2 putts on a couple of the holes.
Wow. And look at where Kat's lie is.
Right, a little game of Where's Waldo, I guess, huh?
Wow. And this is such a great hole to hit, but all 4 players are struggling with a lot of work to do on these upshots, and Kat's pulling out the forehand roller. It's kind of a point where there's no other option.
Got through very nicely.
Outside the circle there. It's going to be on the right-hand side.
Is that no beeline?
I'm not sure.
It's a red line.
Oh, and we're getting a flag put in from one of our volunteers. That is the out of bounds line.
Oh, yeah.
So that's far on the right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect that we got a view of that. Thank you, Johnny.
It's not too often that the out of bounds are coming into play on these wooded holes. But man, it looks much closer to the basket than it does on the map.
Yeah, it really
the map,
does.
it kind of just looks out of play. Oh, wow.
Pierce going just in front of those chains. God, if she'd made that one, then it would have just been really unfair. She was just making so many long putts.
It's so fun, though, when you have that confidence to go for the long putts like that. I mean, that's a wide open shot. There's not a lot of sloping around the basket. So why not go for it? And if you've got a jump putt like Paige does and how powerful that jump putt is, you might as well be running at everything that you can.
Yeah, so true.
This is to save par for Sarah Hokom. She's left a few short now. 2 back-to-back putts left short. She'll be dropping in her bogey. Adding another stroke to the scorecard. She's going to be sitting at 2 over par.
Yeah, now Allen's going to potentially add a couple of strokes. I mean, she needs to make this putt right here for bogey. And somebody who's watching with a very watchful eye would be Lisa Fakis at this point, because although this is a very makeable putt, now that we're seeing this distance, it seems as if this isn't too far away. You're right. It's much closer in person than it is on the map. Oh, immediately she turned. She knew she missed it. So that's going to bring Allen to 3 over par. And now I want everybody at home to remember what I said. How important was that 3 over par number? Because Kat still has a free stroke here. She can finish at 4 and still beat out Fakis. So, that layup that she did on 17, I think that stroke was important.
But Kat also probably feeling a little defeated on a relatively easy hole. She's going into hole 17, very difficult, and have a kind of a negative mind frame, might not set up well. So still 2 holes for this group to play. It's still up in the air of who is going to be making it into tomorrow's final round. Sarah Hokom and Catrina Allen making it interesting for us as we're watching the scores here on UDisc.
So Pierce is going to go back to even. Cox will stay at 1 under, tied for the hot round. Yeah, Kat looks defeated. Kat needs to know the situation, though, right now. I hope she does, because 4 over will still get her into tomorrow's round, and then tomorrow is a total restart. It's a total reboot, and she could have an opportunity still to take home the championship trophy. But let's take a look at that challenging 17th, Val.
And this hole is very difficult, and I think especially because it's one of the final holes, but it's a par 4, 545 feet. Starts off with a placement shot. You can kind of chop off the corner if you've got a good hyzer skip. Second shot is a straightaway. We've got the hills and mounds leading our way to an elevated basket on a rock. Putting can be an issue here if you're not close enough to the basket to just drop it in, but there's that huge dog leg. I mean, it's very tight, technical all the way down, and then you have the basket to deal with at the very end. So this is one of the hardest par 4s in the course.
Yes, it really is. And I think you're right, though. It because it's one of the last holes, I think is why it is so challenging. And there's a situation that we have, folks, right there. Rebecca Cox, she's tied for the hot round at this point for the whole tournament. If she's able to pick up a birdie on these last 2, she could be in the position for that hot round bonus. Paige Pierce at even par. She's fine. Holcomb is okay as well, because Holcomb has 2 strokes there. If she finishes at 4 over, she's in. But Kat, she's the one that's on the edge. Now, let me know if you think this is different. 18, there's almost no chance of bogeying 18, right? I mean, it's down there 400 feet. There's nothing in the way. So it all comes down to 17. Off the tee, of course, you're going to think, I'm going for my shot. I'm going for the shot that I practice, that I plan on playing. But from there out, Kat needs to know all she needs to do is bogey. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. If she bogeys, finishes at 4, she pars the last hole, no worries. I think it's when you start trying to make too much that a double bogey can be brought into play.
For sure. When you try and force something to happen, that's usually when mistakes happen. Also, I mean, that's a nice way to think. All you have to do is bogey. So she's got 5 strokes to get down the fairway. At the same time, you don't want to let up. You don't want to kind of loosen the grip that you have on this course. Just play it as you executed it during your practice rounds.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think off the tee, you have to just go with your game plan. And then from there out, you make the adjustment. You put yourself back in the middle of the fairway if you're not in the fairway to begin with. Oh, that looks like a great shot from Pierce. Oh, and a little bit long. Again, very Hornet's Nest-like. If you're beyond the corner, look at now she's got absolutely nothing. She's only 25 feet long.
And that's when you say the shot was too good.
Too good.
That was an opportunity too good, just a little bit past the opening.
With that said, Cox put herself in a great position off of the tee pad, and she could potentially, again, look at getting a birdie and put herself in position to have the hot round. Wouldn't it be great to just see Rebecca Cox take this whole thing down, though? Just to see another champion on the list of great champions we've had this season. And now we have Kat on the tee. Holcomb's not in great position. But again, all Holcomb has to do is double bogey. Think about that. Kat, both hands in the air. She got through pretty far up there. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Do you want me to throw this in the trunk for you? Oh, I keep my Ranger bag up front. I use the extra storage up top for my tacos.
And thank you to Dynamic Disc for being a premier sponsor of the Tour Championship. And throughout the season, there are top 6 premier sponsors of the Tour Championship, really stepping up big.
Yeah, sort of a big culmination of all of our best manufacturers that make the tools that our players use to compete at the highest level. And we see Sarah Hokom here. She actually is in a position right now. First backhand we're seeing her throw. She needs to just get a double bogey or better and then par 18, and she is in a pretty nice situation to be in. She's done a great job to put herself right in the middle. She can get up and in for par from that position. Now, Val, what about the reaction of Allen? After she got through that initial part of the fairway, she knew that was all she really needed to do. Now she's got 4 shots to get up and into this basket and then par 18.
Yeah, who knows if she knows what's going on with the scores or if she's just excited to hit a line. She had some struggle on that previous hole. And so just hitting a line as pure as she just did, I mean, that's cause for excitement. And this is a good spot. She has a decent size fairway to shoot down. She hits it.
Oh, yeah.
Chomping off a lot more distance, making her way down the fairway. So Kat's looking pretty good right now. Yeah, finishing up with just 2 pars. She will be set and comfortable going into tomorrow's final.
Yeah, and if I'm Cox right now, I hold nothing back because you're in. You're not taking a 10 here, okay? So you've already put yourself in position, but getting up to this basket and getting yourself a birdie puts you in that hot round that has been presented by Innova Champion Discs for the bounty. So give it all you've got right now because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Exactly. With some added pressure, it's going to be harder to score low.
Yeah.
And right now, you're in a good position to take advantage of that. And we know right now that Lisa Fakis and Holly Finley are looking at their phones. They're watching you disc. Lisa seeing if she's going to make it in. Holly seeing if she can hold on to that bounty.
Yeah, and unfortunately, from what I can tell so far, it looks to me as if Allen's going to be able to chip up and give herself a par. She's put herself in good position after 2, and then just have to play 18 for par, and all that's all she wrote. So, of course, nothing is for sure in disc golf at all.
My caddy's trying to get a little bit more camera time again.
I mean, that's what happens when you're the caddy of Paige Pierce. All eyes are on the world champion, 5-time world champion, mind you. I think Paige lives in a world that none of us are very used to living in. You know, she's such a great player, and just the way that she plays, she's always aggressive. She's able to handle the big numbers better than almost anybody else I've seen. And she gets, takes a nice kick and gets through it very nicely. But she takes big numbers more than most players that we see. But she also comes back and handles it better than almost any other player that we see. You know, so she's kind of living and dying on this edge all the time. You know, even our top men's players, like Macbeth, Wysocki, McMahon, they have to live in this world where they got to birdie every hole, or otherwise all the other guys behind them are going to surpass them. But in, you know, sort of looking at Holcomb, who Pierce and Holcomb went head to head last weekend, Holcomb is so stable. She's just so strong. She knows her game plan. She knows her game more than anything. And it's just an interesting thing to watch both.
Right. They both know their game and they know their strengths and weaknesses. And, you know, we even saw Sarah at the Green Mountain Championship she played so safe and conservative, but it almost came back to bite her a few times because she wasn't able to put the pressure on her opponents. But she stuck to her game plan and exactly live or die by that game plan and knowing what you can do. And so you have to deal with however your game plan lays out. And I talked to myself laying up on what was that hole 4 in the World Championships, the final hole, and I had no other game plan but laying up.
Right.
But
yeah, I remember you being over on the fence line and saying, "Yeah, I'm laying it up." That was the plan, and you did just that. So, but you're right. And then you look at Kat, you're right, our third premier level player here on the women's side of things. Our national tour points champion here in 2019. Her game just so fluctuates. She's, it doesn't seem like she knows her game that well. She just kind of is out there just kind of playing and kind of seeing what she's going to get. Some days she's putting well, some days she's driving well. And when she matches those two up, bam, those numbers go low. But all three of our top 3 players in the world on the women's side of disc golf all have 3 very different styles of disc golf.
Trying to give it another little run for us there. Another long distance kind of jump putt, slight upshot out of Paige Pierce.
No holding back here for Rebecca. Doesn't matter. Go for it. And not even giving it enough to get to the basket. Isn't that hard, though, as a player, to take yourself out of what you would normally be used to doing? From there, she's thinking, hey, get it close. I just want to get the par and move on. It's hard to think, hey, it doesn't matter if I take a triple bogey here.
Yeah, and especially on a basket that's up on that rock.
Right.
Even giving it a little bit of a run, you could go blow by the basket and end up 20 feet long, have a comeback. Then it's a whole thing. So even though we want her to go for that hot score, a layup and a drop in on this hole is going to be all she needs. Right now, these players, it's all about getting into tomorrow's round. It's getting into the finals. It's about the top 4 score.
Now, Val,
4 scores getting in the
I got to
finals.
say this as Holcomb's lining up. If I was Sarah, I would lay this up. I would absolutely lay this up and take the drop in. I know I'm going to par 18. I'm worried here because rollaways are a big possibility on this basket. She landed it flat. It doesn't look like it's gone anywhere, but you know what I'm saying? I
know what you're saying. Yeah, but it must be that game plan. But Sarah's not aware of where she's at. I mean, she's not in contention for the hot score. She's just playing her game.
Yeah, she's played not great over the last 3 holes. She's going to now bogey 3 straight. Oh, and I mean, this is huge. I mean, she's not parked.
Wow, that was quite a skip, huh?
Yeah. This is for bogey for Holcomb. If she misses this, that brings in double bogey. Now, remember, folks, if she's at 4 over and is in the clubhouse at 4, she still makes it in. And 18 is not that difficult. All right, so she's got it up and in. So she's going to move to 3 over, and still a bogey on 18 would put her in. So not too worried there. I think at this point we can now start to think about tomorrow, and we're going to see these exact same 4.
We are.
Yeah, and who do we think is eventually, we'll have to think about it here, but who do we think is looking the best? I think Rebecca Cox has been looking really strong. The putter's been working today, and I think that's one thing that is key for Rebecca.
She's just been shredding this back 9. So that's what it's going to come down to tomorrow. If you can play really well in the back 9, I think you're going to be the champion. But we've got 18 to play here, par 3, 400 feet. Again, we're looking at this pretty wide open type of shot. Don't see a lot of trouble. We did see Haley King get hung up on the right-hand side, but really it's about if you're going to birdie it or you're going to par it. There's not a lot of action that can happen on this hole. I don't expect to see any bogeys. I don't expect the scores to change. I predict that these will be the top 4 players making it into tomorrow's final round. And so unfortunate for how close Holly Finley and Lisa Fakis were. They're right below the line at +4. Just almost making it in, but maybe a few changes in their game plan toward that end of the stretch really would have made that difference.
Yeah, or just executing a couple of better shots. Obviously, it's 17 is not easy, and clearly, even though we think 16 is easy from the booth, it's obviously not easy as well, because we saw even a guy like Big Germ take a double bogey on it yesterday, and he ended up getting knocked out. So 16, 17, no easy feats, and then 18. You think about 18 more from the perspective of, well, yeah, we're not getting bogeys, but some players needing birdies and how difficult that is to do, especially at 400 feet for our ladies players here.
Exactly. 400 feet for the women and nearly 500 feet for the men. So it does push the distance out there. And so you're having to finesse the shot to land it close enough to give yourself a look at a birdie.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Rebecca Cox shooting the hot round of the day. She's at 1 under. Again, if she can throw this in, and really, she's got nothing to lose. It doesn't matter. If she could throw this in, she could have that hot score. So giving her another opportunity at claiming that hot score. And again, that's another $500 thanks to Innova Champion Discs for putting up that bounty.
And Pierce has a huge opportunity here, because she could gain a little piece of that pie if she's able to get a birdie, and we know 400 feet is well within her range. Oh, and just pin high, but in the woods. So we'll see if she's actually got a stance. But that putt will be to have her piece of the pie on the hot round bounty.
The bounty pie.
The bounty pie.
And Catrina Allen, I mean, she was never really too far up, too far down. She was kind of steady throughout the entire round. Everybody had their issues in the beginning. Oh, she's ending up on the right-hand side of the fairway, but she's not really making anything happen. There's not much to talk about her play today. Sarah Hokom, she's definitely had some issues. She started off amazing. It's like, wow, Sarah's going to go on a tear. Birdie, almost birdie on hole 3, but then follows that up with a triple bogey on hole 4. And I think that's where it all kind of compiled. She got back on track with a birdie, but it's been toward the last few holes. Bogey.
Yeah.
Strokes are adding up toward the end of the round for Sarah. So I'm gonna be rooting for Rebecca Cox going into tomorrow's round, but that's all 4 players off. We're gonna take our break. We'll be back to wrap this all up in just a minute.
Passion is more than fiery emotion. It feeds the spark to start your day. It fuels your obsessions. It inspires your dreams. Passion challenges your fears, and it repeatedly bathes you in sweat until you are transformed into a new, better you. Disc golf isn't just your passion, it's ours too.
And thank you to Discraft for being our premier sponsor of the Tour Championship. And there's Catrina Allen just pitching out from the woods on the right-hand side. And she just needs that par, and she's in it for the finals tomorrow. Even if she takes that bogey, she's still in it for tomorrow's finals.
Exactly.
So the pressure is off.
Yeah, it's totally off at this point. Absolutely zero chance. And Rebecca just can't bring herself to making any bigger runs than that. But you know, I mean, and maybe in her mind she's thinking, I got at least a piece of the pie at this point too, or maybe she's not even thinking about it. Who knows? Probably not. I think she's at this point thinking about tomorrow and the championship round. So
Exactly. She made it in. Here's Sarah Hokom. Also just has to bogey, and she's in. She got 3 shots to get to the bat.
Wow.
Oh, and almost cashing it in there for a birdie. We see Paige walking over through a little bit long and left of the basket. But if Paige is able to make her birdie, this will be the hot score for the weekend at 2 down. Oh, she'll be matching it up at -1, excuse me.
I don't know what that bit of conversation was from Pierce. Although, I don't know. There is an OB, but it's not in these woods, so not sure what she was actually saying. Oh, I think she was looking at the edge of the circle to see if she could jump. So I think she's outside the circle, so she can jump. She did. She fell forward. I still put Pierce as the odds-on favorite for the hot score bounty tomorrow. I'll take a little hot take on that one, and Cap's just going to not worry about any kind of roll away. No worries there. Take a hot take, though, as Terry Miller would always say on Paige Pierce. The hot score tomorrow. She looked good on this back nine. If she could clean up that front nine, she'd be 5-6 under par right now. And there we go. Rebecca Cox. What a nice round by Rebecca. Very, very solid.
It was an awesome back nine, especially shooting 3 down for the back nine.
Today she looked like she was supposed to be here. You know, that this wasn't just a fluke, or that she was just the 4th person in a 3-person party. You know, she showed that she was meant to be here, and it's all official now. Those are all final scores. I think we are going to get an interview with Rebecca Cox here in just a few minutes. But Val, what do you think about tomorrow? We obviously saw our 4 players play almost every hole today, and we're going to see them play every hole tomorrow as well.
I think this group, I mean, this was their first competitive round on this course. The other 4 players that played today, that was their second round. But I think they have a lot of work to do to clean up their rounds, especially in the front nine. Everybody was all over the place. There were a lot of out of bounds, a lot of bogey strokes. There's a lot of yellow on these cards. So they're going to want to clean that up, even just bring them down to pars, you know, not doing anything too crazy, and they can shoot handfuls of strokes better. So we'll see how that ends up. But Rebecca Cox did just shoot such clean golf in that back nine. And I think that was just so strong, and she did look so confident from what we've seen in the previous Disc Golf Pro Tour events. Her drives are typically on, but today we saw the putter working in her favor. And so her being able to drop in those putts or make those putts when she needed to, I think that was the key to her success. And as we mentioned, tied for the hot round of the weekend.
Yeah, tied for the hot round of the weekend. And I think the big thing to take away is, as you said, her putter was on, but also, you know, sometimes with Rebecca, things get a little tough, and then she kind of falls apart a little bit. She didn't do that today. So that was really nice to see for her. I'm looking forward to seeing her play tomorrow. Of course, the pressure will be ratcheted up as now it's for the title, and it's for a big title live on air, right? So we'll be there, and you'll be there. That tomorrow morning is scheduled for 10 a.m. Keep an eye on social media and all those things just to see if the round has changed. But at this point, looks like the weather is going to pass through tonight, and we'll still see that round at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow.
That sounds great. And yeah, we're looking at the scores right now, players that are making it in, Rebecca Cox, Paige Pierce, Sarah Hokom, and Catrina Allen, they're all starting from square one tomorrow.
Back at zero.
These scores don't continue on to tomorrow's round, so everybody gets a clean slate going into those finals. So that'll make things a little bit more interesting too. You don't have those strokes to make up on your field. You're all starting in the same position. So yeah, I like that kind of play. I think it really sets up well for just continuing that pressure, eliminating it. These players have made it all the way to the finals, but now is when it's basically a one-round tournament.
Yeah, it's a one-round tournament. I think you hold absolutely nothing back. I think you got to go for it at every single turn. Maybe, again, I still think that Pierce has the advantage. I think this course lays out pretty well for her. The par fours are not that long that if she does get through in the woods, she's having eagle looks and, chip up birdies. But she's got to clean up. I mean, she's just got to clean up those drives in those woods.
Yeah. But I think Rebecca's the underdog, and so I'm going to be rooting for her to come out strong tomorrow. We're going to throw it over to Madison and Rebecca on the course.
Yeah, take it away, Madison. Let's hear what Rebecca's got to say.
I'm out here with Rebecca Cox just after the final FPO card has turned in. We just finished the semifinals, and Rebecca Cox is in with the hot round of the day. How do you feel, Rebecca?
I'm feeling really good. I'm really excited about how this turned out. I wasn't expecting it.
So as you guys know, maybe from an interview that we did earlier in the round with Rebecca, she's dealing with an injury that she sustained last week during the Hall of Fame, which she took off and has been resting the whole week. Are you happy that you took that week off?
Yes, I'm very happy that I took that week off, and I spent this past week just resting and watching other people play, so it's really nice to finally get back out there and, play my game.
I know you said you were going to do a bunch of standstill shots. Did you have to change your game plan at all, or what ended up working for you?
Well, since I kind of was playing the course half blind, I didn't realize the distances as much, so I kind of had to run up more than I thought I would, but it ended up working out.
Yeah, a lot of the ladies had practice last week at Hall of Fame Classic. Jackson's a super wooded course, and it would be a nice warm-up for this, but Rebecca did not have that advantage, and still the rest seemed to have helped. Anything you want to shout out before heading into the finals tomorrow?
Well, shout out to the Natty, Jason Curl, caddy for me today, so thank you guys so much. But other than that,
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Rebecca. Thanks to everyone who tuned in and watched the FPO rounds. We know it's early. We're excited that we got done before the rain, and hopefully tune in tomorrow, please, to watch Rebecca on the lead card during the Pro Tour finale finals. Thanks, and back to the booth.
And thank you, Madison, for that recap. And Rebecca did look a little surprised with how she played, but it was such a strong performance out of her, and I'm excited to see what tomorrow has in store. Again, we'll be joining them again tomorrow, 10 a.m. with the women's round. But first, we have the men's semifinals. They're going to be taking off a little bit early this round, 1:30 Eastern. So that's a really quick break. So go grab a snack, go grab a beverage. We're going to be right back right here. Thank you to the crew. Thank you to everybody that's been watching. We're going to take our break. We'll see you in just about 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, it's going to be quick. We'll see you back here in a bit.